Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Kyuubi gives Naruto a gift konoha. Before I start, please support for more amazing content, and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by L33t Horo and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1, A Second Chance, and a Kekkei Genkai. So, this is how I die, is it? Looking around, I see the dead bodies of Sound and Leaf Shinobi. Glancing at the ground before me, I see Orochimaru, well, Sasuke. Orochimaru took Sasuke's body over recently. Damn Sasuke, letting Orochimaru take over Baka. I muttered to myself. I had a large hole in my stomach, the result of a Chidori. There was a minor gash on my arm, and my leg had a few kunai in it. In short, same old same old. I'm surprised that I'm not dead from blood loss. Probably the fox. Maybe I should see if I can find Sakura's body. Tears trickle down as they make their way to my eyes. I remember the incident, like I was watching it over again, in my head. Flashback. Naruto-kun, you look like you are tired. Orochimaru stated rather than asks. You think I'm tired after that? Guess Orochimaru, you must be getting old. Silence, you brat. He hissed at me, then he smirked. Chidori. Fuck. I thought, as he appeared right before me, shoving his hand towards me. I tried to dodge, but he was too close. As I realized that I was going to get hit by the attack, I braced myself. When I felt a pair of hands on arm, and then force applied to them, I was shocked. By pushing me out of the way, a woman with pink hair had taken the blow for me. Sakura-chan. I yelled, as I made my way towards her, tears burning my eyes. And Naruto, you Baka, pay attention to the battle. She says as I get in hearing range. Sakura-chan, you need medical attention, I just can't leave you here. I yell as I pick her up. Naruto, you won't make it. She says flatly, coughing up blood after speaking. She shivers in my arms. Tears stream down my face as I look at her, a smiling adorning her face. Why are you smiling? I ask, tears still flowing. Because I dash. She says before coughing up more blood. Looking at me, she smiles as she starts to go limp in my arms, Shinigami taking her soul and letting her rest at long last. I love you, Sakura, I say, but she didn't hear. She was dead, and I was engulfed in rage, wanting blood, Orochimaru's of wanton destruction. Years of losing my precious people, I'd become Hokage, but of what? A Hokage without his people, what is he Hokage of? Being ravaged by Orochimaru costed so many lives, so many innocent civilians. I am an old man Ichiraku, they were all dead. Placing her body on the ground gently, I stand up to have another Chidori shoved at me. It connected to my stomach, but I didn't budge, my anger cancelling out pain as Kyuubi stopped the bleeding. I formed the perfect Rasengan in one hand and a demon one with 9 tail-like appendages in the other. Manton Rasengan. I yelled as I pulled back the hand with the complete Rasengan and shoved it in his gut. Kyuubi Rasengan. Shoving this one in his face, causing his face to be completely massacred by the powerful attack. Orochimaru slid to the ground, but not before he dragged a kunai down my arm, trying to get in one last attack. Orochimaru, this be my judgment as the Rokudame, you are condemned to death. I hissed coldly, as Orochimaru took his last breath through his mangled face. Then before going limp I hear Sasuke's voice, thank you. Flashback end. The only dream I gained was becoming the Rokudame, one I didn't fulfill was protecting Sakura, and the other was marrying her. My thoughts kept trailing on. Kit, please stop mopping about. You need to carry on for your friends. I heard Kyuubi, trying to cheer me up. You see, in the past 6 years of being back from Jiraiya's training, the Kyuubi and I had become like father and son. The fox reasoned if I can't get out I might as well make the best of this situation. Nice try, Kyukun, but it won't work. I say, hearing him growl lightly at the nickname. Why should I carry on? What was left for me? Even Gaara was killed, he died protecting his siblings whom they died shortly after Orochimaru's troop took Suna. All I'm saying is that you shouldn't give up, it's not like you. Kyukun, this is my fate, and I accept it. I respond solemnly. I am tired of all of this. Okay, now you sound like that damn Hyuga, what is wrong with you? Yelled the Kyuubi, starting to get pissed off at my attitude. Kit, I ask you, do you want to see your friends again, even if it might cost you your life? Of course I want to see my friends again. I don't care if I might die. How? Just tell me how. I yelled. A glimmer of hope was not lost. Simple, time travel. He says, like an everyday thing. I got irritated. Time travel? Kyukun, that's almost impossible. Chakra can't control time, you and I both know it. That, and unless I can keep my memories, I won't be any help. Last time we were talking about this, you said the possibility of keeping our memories is very slim. Kit, what do you think I do in here? Just sleep? Yeah, right. You may not use my chakra unless you need to or want to because you want a change of pace. That and your chakra captivity rivals mine, but I do research, and I've found out that if we fuse our chakras, we can use it to control time. Wow. How long did it take to learn that? I asked, totally shocked. Do you want to or not? You don't have much time left. Just show me the hand signs. I say as I cited, flashing the hand signs in my head. We go through about 500. Chronos release, time flux jutsu. I mutter as a strange feeling washes over me. Okay, Kit, how far back do you want to go? Asked the Kyuubi, although his voice wasn't coming from my head, but to my right. Looking in that direction, there stands Kyuubi, over 100 meters in height, and 33 meters in long. So, until I chose, you can stay out? Yes, Kit, but what time do you chose? To where this nightmare started, my birth. I want to see my parents before they die, I speak sadly. Hang on, this is going to be a bumpy ride. He says as the same feeling washes over me again. Kyukuen, will I remember all this? I ask. Of course, how else will you change the timeline? At those words, I start to feel smaller. When it stopped, I opened my eyes to see a pair of dark green ones staring into mine. With a sigh, the woman says, at least he got to see me before I die. Ersher, you should take him now, so we can save the village. The woman, I presumed, was my mother, who I was told died at childbirth. Please forgive me? I want to be here by your side as you take your last breath, but I must save the village, forgive me, Raikou. Said the man, probably my father. I looked at him to find that he was the yandame. What the hell? My father was the freaking yandame, my hero. Damn, I am the luckiest kid on the planet, I yelled in my head, not being able to speak for I was only an infant. Looking back at my mother, I see her fall in an eternal slumber. I start to cry, but silently. At least I kept that dignity. I thought to myself, not crying out loud, are we? You're more mature than a child should be, but I guess that's a good sign. My father says, kissing my forehead. As we got to the side of the Kyuubi, I gurgled happily. My father looked at me with a questioning face. Understanding the look, I point to the Kyuubi. He smiled a sad smile and says that, my son, is the Kyuubi no Yoko. I must seal him into you, please forgive me. When we got there, he quickly sealed Kyuubi into me. Hey Kyukuen, do you remember me? I asked him. How the hell can you speak to me? Asked the Kyuubi, shocked that an infant could communicate to him. Fuck, that means then we have to rebuild our friendship. I shouted in my now infant mind. Silence. Hey Kyukuen, you there? I ask. Wait, I just searched your memories. Knowing me, I probably said my memories somewhere in the depths of your mind. Look, I'm not going to talk for a while, I'll be searching for my memories, so talk with your father. Damn, I must have grown soft, or he grew on me, probably both. Fuck, cursed the old demon fox. Ah, Kyukuen, I can hear your thoughts too. I said. Shut up and pay attention to your father, demands an irritated Kyuubi. Switching my attention back to my father, I see him talking with Shinigami. Please, Shinigami-sama, can I have a few more moments with my son? 10 minutes, and only 10 minutes, understood? Thank you, Shinigami-sama. Minato says, bowing. Looking at me, he brings me to Aji-sama. Sarutobi, I ask that you tell the village to look upon Naruto as a hero, and not a monster. I know they will most likely ignore this, but some might respect my last wish. Minato explains. I will try, Minato-sama. Sarutobi responds, giving a quick bow. Looking back at my father, I see him crying, gazing at me. Turning my head towards Shinigami, I glare fiercely at him, furious that he must take my father's soul. To my surprise, he glares right back, before a smirk makes its way to his inhuman-like lips. Minato, your son, he is a fierce one. I have a question, Uzumaki. Would you believe me if I told you your son has a Kekii Genkai? At this, both the yandame, and I give him a quizzical look. Turn your attention to his eyes. Doing as he says, he gapes, face showing complete shock. How? I nor Raika have a Kekii Genkai? He asks, eyes back on him. My eldest son, the god of prophecy, once said that a child would be born with a Kekii Genkai like no other. He said that this dojutsu would be known as Mantengan, perfect eyes, and put the Sharingan and Byakugan to shame. Looks like your son is the one he prophesied. Congratulations. Sadly, I must take your soul. Shinigami-sama, may I ask for one more favor? The fourth asks. Giving a sigh, he responds, what is it? Although my soul will be put through unimaginable pain, I ask that you tell me about my son every so often. Is this acceptable? Breaking into a fit of hysteric laughing, stopping a moment later, he finally answering, yes, Minato, I will tell you about your son when I think it is important. Then I have no regrets, Sarutobi, take care of Naruto for me. With that, Shinigami took his soul, and his body fell lifeless on the ground. Kit, I'm sorry I found my memories in the back of the seal. Thanks, Kyukuen. Well, we should probably start training tomorrow, in the mindscape of course. Looking at Aji-sama, I notice a few tears making their way down his cheeks. On instinct, I reach out my small hand and wipe the tears away, drawing a smile from the old man. Naruto, you will grow to be a strong and kind Hokage one day. At those words, I gurgle happily. For the next few years, Naruto would train with the Kyuubi in his mindscape, learning many a jutsu. By the time he reached the age of 3, he knew many human jutsus, and knew more than enough demon jutsus. But he never stopped learning them. By training in his mindscape, Naruto had increased his chakra captivity to far beyond that of a Kage. Kyuubi, knowing that he would be too powerful, put a restraint on his chakra storage, effectively lowering it to above a low ENBU, high Jonin. Naruto's POV, first year of academy and 6 years after Naruto's birth. Hey Kyuubi, what time is it? I ask, finishing my normal routine, which consisted of creating 2,000 shadow clones, having each group practice a different way of chakra control, then dispelling them. Up next are 1,000 laps around the training area, 5,000 punches, 6,000 kicks, 3,000 push-ups, 4,000 sit-ups, 2,000 crunches. After taking a quick break and a lunch, I practice with my dojutsu, which has many abilities, such as seeing tenketsus and seeing 360 degrees, like the Byakugan, and reading an opponent's movement. The Mantengan split the irises into 8 even sections, in a pattern that went red, blue, and so on until it comes back to the original sections. My pupil turns silver, with a ring around it, like the Sharingan, but the Tomo are shaped like tears and are silver as well. I have 2 in my right eye and 1 in my left eye, so I was only just scratching the surface. Kyuubi also said unlike the Sharingan, Mantengan had 4 Tomo in each eye before completion. To help with the physical training, I wore chakra weights, and as the name implies, they increased whenever more chakra was added to them, which at the moment reached slightly over 500 kg. Recently, Kyuubi had put on a gravity seal, which doubled the gravity on my body and doubled each time I grew used to it, which I was on level 3 gravity seal. In the end of practice, I finish up with learning 1 new jutsu and 200 laps. About 5:30 in the morning, so you have a half an hour to get to school. Thanks, I think I'll take a walk, I inform him, leaving the training grounds. But before that I go to eat my morning ramen. After school that day, a few minutes later of glaring, threats, and name-calling, I'm at Ichiraka Ramen, announcing my arrival. Oh hey, guess who's here? I say, grinning as Tuchi's head pops out from the back of the little shop. Hey Naruto, nice to see my favorite customer is here for his free daily ramen, he says chuckling as he goes to work making my usual. Hoping on a stool with grace unlike a normal 4-year-old, I grin, of course. And don't worry, I can pay for the rest. How, may I ask, does a 4-year-old pay for a couple of bowls for ramen? I hear a voice behind me, and turn around to see Itachi about to take a seat. Uchiha Itachi? I ask, and I see him look at me in surprise and know his name. Yes, and you are? He asks, and I shrug. Uzumaki Naruto, you're the Uchiha prodigy, right? I ask, and turn back to Tuchi as he places his bowl in front of me, and Itachi orders his. Correct, but you didn't answer my question, he says, and I chuckle as I slurp down some noodles. I get a monthly salary from the Hokage because of my living conditions, I say, Itachi receiving his order. And you seem well-mannered for someone who does not belong to a prestigious clan. Why is that? He asks, and I couldn't help but be surprised by this behavior. Even before he killed his clan, I had heard he was kind of cold, yet here was, talking to me, of all people, and he was the one continuing the conversation. Oh, and I heard this rumor that you wanted to achieve this Sharingan state called the Manjiki Sharingan, am I correct? Itachi was taken by surprise at this, nodded his head hesitantly, apparently uncomfortable with the subject. Well, I have a scroll that was given to me by my father, inheritance of course, that tells of a Uchiha that gained the Manjiki Sharingan without killing his closest friend. I said his body language did not give it away but his voice. Is what you say true, Naruto? He asks, clearly disbelieving of me and cautious. Why would I lie to my first brother-like figure? I asked, the smile on my face growing. He responded with his smile growing, smaller of course. What makes you say that? Smile still on his features. Maybe I can tell you later, but I need to get going, I say, jumping down from the stool and waving to Tuchi. See you tomorrow, Tuchi. And see you some other time. Itachi-san, I say before jumping onto the roof with a little difficulty, seeing as my 4-year-old body wasn't supposed to be able to do that. I arrive into the training ground sighing. I feel like holding nothing back, as I create a strange hand seal. Adoben Soto Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, advanced shadow clone technique, I say, and I'm leaning on my knees a moment later, a near-perfect clone in front of me. Getting into my stance, I see it do the same, as it activates the Zekugan, before we charge each other. The point behind this exercise was to find all the weak points in my defense and offense. By the clone using the Zekugan, it can see and take advantage of all my weak spots, and then in turn I can find a way to improve my style. I have almost perfected my taijutsu body technique. Granted, there was still some spot here and there that needed fixing. We continue this for about 3 hours, the lights of dawn seeping over the horizon. I have an audience of about 4 ANBU by now as I grab my clone's shoulder as it's about to throw a punch and flip over him before kicking it in the back and making him lurch forward before he turns around and sweeps with his foot, which I back flip to avoid, before he charges from his position, keeping me on my toes, and breaking through my guard as he jumps and kicks, making me grab his foot. But he was already in the motion of bringing his fist down on my head as I am sent to the ground, and my clone is still standing. Getting up quickly, I can see we're both badly bruised, beating on each other for hours and this being the result. Sighing, I dismiss the clone, and get a load of information as I lean against the tree, all the blind spots and openings the clone found being transferred to me. You can come out if you want, I know you're there, I say, and the 4 ANBU jump out of the trees, one with a dog mask, an elephant mask, a cat mask, and a bird mask. That was impressive, Naruto, especially for someone who hasn't even started the academy yet, says the one with the bird mask, and I nod, panting. Well, it's not nice to spy on your own ninja, I say, and he chuckles, along with the rest. True, But you should get going, the academy starts in a quarter of an hour, even though you don't need it, apparently, he says, before they spread out across the village to keep the peace. Resting there for a bit longer, I start dashing through the trees to school. Once I reach the main road, I jump down from the trees, and happen to come upon a lone Sakura. She quickly hides behind a nearby pole, and hesitantly asks a question, who are you? Another B-bully? I blanch at her, but remember that Ino will help her out in the future, so I shouldn't interfere, but decide that I could help her today. Damned be the consequences. No, I think we're both going to the academy though, so if you don't mind I'll join you? I ask, and she gives me a once-over, before nodding hesitantly, and continuing on cautiously. Eventually, I had to take the lead, because she didn't seem to know where to go, but she followed me. When we get to the school, I realized that everybody was still outside, and that the parents were there, and realized that I forgot that it was normally a custom for the parent to attend the first day of the academy with their child, which made me curious. Where are your parents? I ask, and she looks at me before looking down at the ground. I got lost, and couldn't find mommy, she confesses, looking up and at the parents, probably searching for her own. Where are yours? She asks, and I chuckle, and see her look at me oddly. Don't have any, I say nonchalantly, and I see her face, and she's completely shocked. Thanks for walking to the academy with me, see you, I say, before walking towards the group, and seeing Sakura's mother appear, looking worried. Wait, what's your name? She asks, and I give her a grin. Uzumaki Naruto, and you? I ask. Hareno Sakura, she says, and I smile again. We probably won't talk like this again, so thanks, I say, before walking to the back of the group, and she's about to ask a question when her mom comes and hugs her. Before she sees me, and she turns to Sakura, her face cold as she tells her not to talk to me, or not to trust me, just like all the other parents. Typical, you know? Humans always tend to fear that which they have no understanding sometimes is not fear but rather hate that the thing that ravaged this land is sealed in me and be beating me they think that by proxy they hurt my tenant. I have always thought, hey, would it be funny if I had lost it and turned like Gaara? After thinking of the scenario a few times I smile in a sadistic manner. Yeah, it would be great, but I would be alone. Alone, that word is so very painful. Alone. To my surprise, instead of seeing Fugaku and Mikoto, I see Itachi and Sasuke, both of their parents probably busy, debating whether I should go over and say hi. Itachi makes it for me as he walks towards me, Sasuke on his heels. Hey Itachi, where's Fugaku-sama and Mikoto-san? I ask, and see him chuckle as Sasuke looks at me oddly. Oke-san and Oto-san are busy today, and they asked me to come in their stead, although I'm sorry to see that you have no one to come along with you, he says, and I chuckle. Your concern is appreciated, Itachi, but I'm used to it by now, sad as that is, I say, before noticing a young Irika walk out of the academy. Looks like class is about to begin, I comment, before walking with the rest of the group into the building as Irika waved us in, Itachi on my heels. I couldn't help but sigh. Throughout the entire time, I'd been stared at by everyone, except Itachi, and it was starting to get on my nerves. Right now was something like free time or recess, the parents were allowed to mingle, and the kids could go outside if they wanted. I decided to stay in just because I wanted to hear what the parents would talk about, although I already knew well enough what their subject of conversation would be. Demon Spawn and Hellboy were among the most used, but their favorite was the Demon Boy. I go on my guard when Sakura's mother stomps over towards me. What did you do to my daughter, Demon? She demands, and I sigh at her arrogance. What makes you think I did anything to Sakura-san? I ask, deciding against using Chan, as it might upset her. So you're denying you did anything? She questions, and I see her anger rise, and decide to humor her. All I did is meet her, answer her questions, follow her around, before I realized she was lost, and then led her back to the academy. I didn't do anything wrong to her or you, I say, and she just doesn't seem to get it as she looks about ready to punch me. I smiled, not a happy smile, but a smile you'd give to a person when they don't know better. Like when you are correcting a child's mistake. I would believe him if I were you. Naruto isn't one to lie, and I bet I could find a few ANBU to vouch for him, says Itachi as he comes up behind her, and she turns around, staring him down, but I laugh when he just stares right back at her. She leaves after a minute, mumbling something about damned Uchiha. Thanks for backing me up, I swear she was about to kill me, I joke, and see Itachi's face say apathetic. She probably would have, Naruto, it's not a laughing matter, he says in complete seriousness, and I sigh. If she was going to try and kill me, I would have run. And you know that I'm elusive, I say, and see him nod, before he takes a seat next to me. I've been offered a position as an ANBU captain, he says out of nowhere, and I look at him, a smile on my face. Well, that's good, isn't it? I mean, ANBU captain at the age of, 13, 12, is a feat in and of itself, I say in a jovial tone, and he smirks a little. Yes, but that would mean less time with you and Sasuke, he says, and I realize his dilemma. Oh, so that's it. Well, if you're worried about me, you shouldn't be, I can take care of myself, and you're bound to be assigned to guard me a night or two. And as for Sasuke, I can try and become friends with him, but he has kids his own age around him, he should be fine, now, I say, and see Itachi nod and sigh, with a slightly amused smile. I guess that means you're forcing me to become an ANBU captain? He asks, and I chuckle, while nodding. I hum a bit, before shaking the thought from my head. If I confront him now about the massacre, he might still run, or worse, do it early, so it's best if I just wait. Looking outside the window to all the kids having fun, I could only smile slightly. It's hard to imagine that they all become so serious and deadly in the future, I think to myself, before chuckling again. I sound like an old man. I'm only 27 for Cammy's sake. Yes, but you've always been wiser for your age, even when you were just a failure. True, but still. You still refuse to accept that Itachi killed his entire clan, even though it's true? He hasn't killed his entire clan. Not yet, not this time, and I plan to keep it that way. Just then, the bell rings, and the kids flood back in, and as usual I move to the back, putting my head down and letting my eyes droop. I bring my head up fast enough that it pops, and wince a little as the bell rings and everybody else starts to leave. Getting up, I stretch before I see Irika staring at me. What? I ask, and I see him shake his head before asking. Did you sleep throughout the entire lecture on the ninja caste system? He asks, and I chuckle as I start to walk down the stairs. Genin, low ninja, chunin, middle ninja, tokubetsu jounin, special high ninja, jounin, Anbiyu, sanin, 3 ninja, and kage, shadow, I say, before looking over my shoulder and smirking at Irika's surprised face. See ya, Irika-sensei. Maybe, just maybe, there is hope for him, I whisper to myself, jumping into my apartment, and brace myself as I hear the banging on the door, customary sign of my next beating. I sigh, before smiling masochistically. Bring it on. You've gone mad. No, I just like to think of this as pain resistance training, I respond, chuckling. No, you've gone mad, and that's that. Well, maybe just a little. Thank Kami, Kakashi told me how to achieve Manjikyu without killing. 2 years later, I couldn't get to sleep. It was like the first time. I was too excited to go to school, which was simply strange. How long have we been friends, Kyukuen? I ask out of nowhere, and I hear him chuckle. Since you were about 18, so 3 years before the time travel, and a year before you became Rokudame, he answers, and I nod, shaking my head. I need to do something, I think to myself, before flipping off my bed and heading out to train. As I walk through the empty streets of Konoha, the silence makes me smile at the tranquility, so different from the war. It slips into my head, and I shake the bad memory away, before remembering the last 2 years. One of the more memorable things in the past 2 years I've done is save Hizashi and Hinata. They don't know I did it, but it was surprisingly easy to trap the Jounin in a high-rank genjutsu, illusion technique, and take Hinata from him before he was found by the Hyuga guards, and drop her back off in her bed, convincing her it was all just a bad dream. But one of the most surprising things is that Itachi visited Ichiraku Ramen at the same time, every day, as if waiting for me, and I had little choice but to befriend him. And surprisingly, he was kinder than I thought. He paid attention to Sasuke's progress, and said he was proud and surprised, as well as saying that he loved his family, but was ashamed that they paid no attention to Sasuke. It was all quite surprising, and I couldn't believe that it was him that supposedly massacred his entire clan, which I hope to stop in this next year if at all possible. Stopping in front of a random store, I look at the glass, before activating the Zekugan. I was still marveled at its beauty and power. The iris was split into 8 sections, alternating colors from light red to light blue, my pupil becoming sliver, and a ring hovering just around it, also silver, and the tomo looked like teardrops. But I was still dumbfounded by its most prominent ability. As I was walking through the village one day, a rogue Kagaya was struggling against his arrest, when he used the Shikatsumiyaku, dead bone pulse, firing a few fingertips at a nearby Jounin, although a few flew in my direction and I had to activate my Zekugan to dodge, although one still scratched me, and he was instantly detained. When he used the Teshi Sendan, finger bullet drill, though, I felt a slight stinging in my eyes, but I ignored it. Although, the next day, when I woke up, I felt a little sore and tired, and when I was training, I accidentally used the Teshi Sendan. I knew that should have been impossible, so I was quick on question Kyukuen, when he told me that my Zekugan had altered my genes when it witnessed the Kekkei Genkai, and when the fingertip scratched me. Ever since then, I've had the ability to use Shikatsumiyaku, which I have trained with ever since, as well. The strangest thing was, I had basic knowledge of the Shikatsumiyaku, which was even more surprising than even having it. Hey Kyukuen, have you found out why I lived through the Kekkei Genkai Saseki, blood inheritance limit genesis? Because you said it takes massive amounts of chakra, enough to even wind you, and I don't have that much chakra in this body, I inquire, and hear Kyukuen grunt, as I probably woke him up. Actually I have, but I've been hesitating on telling, he says, and that gets my attention. Hesitant on telling me? What for? Because I don't want you using it too much. It reminds me of someone that I don't really like, he says, and I can't help but be curious. Really? Someone that you don't like besides Madara? Who? I ask. None of your business. But I think it about time I told you anyways, he sighs as I make my way to the training grounds. When I was feeding my chakra into you when you needed it for the time travel technique, I wasn't exactly feeding my chakra into you. I was fusing my chakra with you and in result, and we created a new chakra. Created a new chakra? As an AI have a chakra storage of this new chakra? I ask, quite curious as to why Kyukuen would want to hide this information. Yes, you could say that, but it's vast. Even with my near limitless chakra, it still is larger because, from what I've deduced, we're both feeding chakra to it constantly, and it's just getting bigger and bigger, but you can't use it. First off, this small body couldn't handle this much chakra right now, and it seems tainted, not evil, exactly, but not good either, he explains, and I nod my head, even though he can't see. But what about Kekkei Genkai Sasiki? I didn't mean to use the Anin chakra, malice chakra, but the Zekugen took from it. That you don't have to worry about. The Zekugen took from the Anin chakra because it is the largest storage of chakra, and it would be less harmful if taken from there. And as long as it's only the Zekugen taking from there, I don't care, just as long as you don't willingly use this Anin chakra, he warns, voice grave and serious. Oh, a nice name by the way, he says out of nowhere, and I chuckle. Hey, might this be the reason that the Zekugen awakened in this lifetime, and not the last? I ask, and hear the Kyuubi hum in interest. Possibly, but all I know is that you have the Zekugen now, and the Anin chakra, and it's up to you how you use them, he says, before breaking off the mental connection as I land in the training grounds. Night of the Uchiha massacre. I sigh as I camp out in a tree in the Uchiha compound. I was going to stop Itachi, by force or reason I didn't know yet, but I was worried when I heard Shursui was killed. Okay, so far so good, no sign of Itachi yet, I think to myself, concentrating on sensing chakra alone, my range approximately 2 miles. I had been working on chakra control a lot, that is, until I sense a foreign chakra, but not altogether unfamiliar. Madara, I whisper, before jumping full speed across the rooftops towards his destination. He was heading straight for an Uchiha. Wincing as I jump, I pull out of my shoulder a blade made from my upper arms, increasing the density of the bone to make it harder than steel. I come in sight of the on the ground and injured Uchiha, as Madara posing as Itachi comes closer. Jumping down, I block the katana Itachi was swinging down, struggling with his force. What the dash, he starts, but I ignore him and turn my head towards the Uchiha. Get out of here now. Go find an Anbu. I yell, before turning my attention to Madara again. I could see his anger in his eyes as he glares at the running Uchiha, quickly taking out a kunai and launching it at his receding back. Reacting on instinct, I thrust my hand up, feeling the cold steel pierce my skin and go all the way through. Flinching, I feel the pressure in my stomach before I'm sent back. Well, who do we have here? A little hero? He asks in a mocking tone. Looking up, and standing with a little difficulty, I see his surprise. You could say that, but I like to think of myself as a good citizen, I respond, smirking at his surprise. How are you still standing? That should have broken your ribs, he asks, and I smirk again, flipping the bone sword in my hand. It's called the Shikatsumiyaku Baka, I say, before charging him, remembering to use the Tsubaki no Mai, Dance of the Camellia, being more effective than just swinging the sword. I could see he was having a little trouble dodging, and accepting the fact that a 6-year-old was putting him on his toes. Unluckily, he finds an opening, and knees me in the chest, knocking me back as I grunt a little, before he heel drops the back of my head. I have to admit, pretty strong for a fucking 6-year-old, but not good enough, he says, before he brings the katana on the back of my Kage Bunshin's, Shadow Clone's, head, and I chuckle from atop a roof nearby. And I'd say you're a little cocky, I say, before jumping down with grace, and forming another hand seal, creating 6 other clones. Nodding my head to one side, they all go in different directions. I'm sending them off to get the real Itachi, and some back up, I say, seeing Madara look surprised and confused. And what makes you think I'm not Itachi, he asks, and I just glare. What's my name? I ask, and see Madara look confused. How should I know? He says, before realizing that it was a mistake. My name's Uzumaki Naruto, and Itachi is one of my best friends, I say, before charging him again, this time ditching the bone sword, and going for the other technique I remember from Kimimara's repertoire, the Yanagi no Mai, Dance of the Willow. I could see the surprise as he sees sharpened bones grow from my knees, elbows, shoulders, and palms. Using acrobatics I have practiced for a couple of years, I start to flip and dance around Madara, cutting him up and giving him a hard time to catch me. How is such a little kid giving me such a hard time? He asks himself, irritated with me as I smirk. He kicks me in the chest, but his eyes grow wide, and my smirk deepens. Karamatsu no Mai, Dance of the Larch, I answer his unasked question, and take a palm blade and stab him in the stomach, seeing him lurch back. Being careless is getting you beat by a little kid, Madara. I address him by his real name, and see him stare at me, and unless you get out of here, I'll have more than enough ANBU supporting me to take you down. I could see the anger growing behind his eyes, and harden my own face as I activate the Zekugen, see his anger be doused by surprise, but only for a moment. I say, you take this seriously, or everyone will know that Uchiha Madara, the founder of the Uchiha, was beaten by a 6-year-old kid, I say, seeing right through his disguise with the Zekugen. It was quite powerful, enough for him to withstand damage without it falling, but still not as strong as Tsunade's. I knew egging him on wasn't the best idea, but I didn't want to be taken too lightly. But I knew I was screwed when he activated the Manjiki Sharingan, Kaleidoscope Copy Wheel Eye. I only had 3 tomo in each of my eyes, and if I lived through this, I was bound to have 4 in at least one. Your mistake was mentioning my name, he says, before I feel his hand in my gut, my Zekugen seeing, but my body to slow, before I smile as best I can. Your mistake is underestimating me, I say, before a Kage Bunshin hits him in the back of the head, being released for a second, spinning around and flipping through a few hand seals, already feeling the drain on my chakra. Futon, Yaiba no Mai, wind release, dance of blades, I say, a gust of wind faster than the Sharingan could hitting Madara and sending him back and into a house, cuts appearing all over his body. He gets up like nothing happened, all his wounds healing, and I just chuckle, coughing up a little blood. Don't you get it yet? I'm immortal. You cannot defeat me, he says, walking towards me slowly. But even you can't resist over 30 NBU, they'd get you in custody eventually. And then you'd be stuck in Konoha, I say, and he scowls. He picks me up by the neck, as I was severely weakened by that last technique, it being S rank, which for a 6-year-old should be impossible. Give me one reason to not kill you, he says, tightening his grasp on my neck. I try and chuckle, before pointing over his shoulder to the large group of ANBU, with Guy and Kakashi there as well. Itachi, put Naruto down, orders one of the ANBU, and I see Madara frown in annoyance. A moment later, he has his arm around my neck and a kunai to my temple. Stay back or I will kill him, he says, and a smirk, adjusting my elbow so that it was close to his heart, before extending my elbow bone to jam it in his chest, weakening it at the point of contact, and hardening the part inside of him, before breaking the bone at the weak point. I also harden my skull, as he only just cuts my temple, and doesn't pierce it, before he drops me, grabbing at the bone inside of him, which was undeniably painful. Turning around, I bring my finger up to his gut, and call out a magic word, Kai, and the genjutsu Madara head-on breaks like glass, revealing his true self, as I bring my hand back, before shoving it in his gut, with a Rasengan in hand. Everyone watches in astonishment as Madara is sent flying backwards, and I stumble forward a bit, all this exercise and fighting draining almost all my chakra. Turning around, and limping towards the group, I look around, Itachi not in my sight. Where is Itachi? I ask, and everybody just looks at me, before I turn my head to the right because I hear a noise, and smile as I fall to the ground unconscious, knowing Itachi could clear things up. Oh, what a headache, I mutter to myself as I sit up, knowing I'm in a hospital by the smell of alcohol and blood in the air. Popping an eye open, I see Fugaku, Mikoto and Itachi at the foot of my bed, and I sigh. They either wanted an explanation, or to thank me. I was going for the former. And what might bring the prestigious head of the Uchiha clan here, Fugaku-sama? I ask, rubbing my temples. First off, I'd like to thank you for probably saving the Uchiha clan, although I don't know how, he says, bowing slightly, and I respond as best I can in the bed. And I'd also like to know how you knew it wasn't Itachi, and how you even fended him off. I chuckle a little bit, and it surprises Fugaku. I saw through his genjutsu with my Kekkai Genkai, I answer, and see the three falter a little as they receive the information. Surprised I didn't tell Itachi? I couldn't, otherwise he could have come up with a way to beat me, and that would have put a dent in my plans. Kekkai Genkai? Why didn't you tell me, Naruto? Itachi asks, and Fugaku and Mikoto look at him strangely. Because I can't tell you everything, Itachi, I say, looking at Fugaku and Mikoto's reaction. You've met this boy before? They ask, and I'm a little surprised. Yes, I have lunch with him almost every day, Itachi says like it was a common fact, but I could tell it wasn't. Let's just put it this way, Fugaku-sama, he keeps me company at lunch by giving me someone to talk to, since no one else will, considering my tenant isn't favored, I explain, and Mikoto glances at me with surprise. So, you know about the Kyuubi, Sarutobi says as he walks in, and the other three bow while I grin. Aji-sama. How's it going? I ask, and see the old man chuckle as the three start to leave. Don't leave just yet, you may finish your conversation, I just want some time alone with Naruto afterwards, he says, and the three stop, before returning to their spots as Sarutobi goes and sits in a corner. Well, since there's nothing much more to ask than this, what is your Kekkai Genkai? Fugaku asks. Shrugging, I activate them and see Mikoto gasp, and Fugaku and Itachi stare on in surprise. I call them the Zekugan, since this is the first time they've surfaced in my family. And I'll write scroll for you later, I say, looking in the mirror to see if I had any more tomo, and I smirk as I see 4 in one eye. Thought so, I think, as the three exit the room and Sarutobi comes up and sits on the bed, drawing my attention as I deactivate my eyes. So, Naruto, how long have you known about the Kyuubi? He demands, in a kind tone. Of course, Sarutobi wasn't one to be cruel. Since Mizuki told me while he was trying to take the scroll of sealing from me, which I stole because he told me to. I say fast enough to confuse him, but not enough for him to miss it. Okay, first of all, there is no Mizuki in this village, I know. I've memorized everyone in the village's name. Second, the scroll of sealing is in my office. I know because I was just examining it, and you've been in here the entire time, he says, and I sigh, before flipping through hand seals. Okay, how about I just show you? I ask, before finishing with the tiger seal, Raitensen no Jutsu, spirit transmission technique. I whisper, holding my wrist and placing my palm on Sarutobi's forehead as his eyes roll into the back of his head, and I feel Sarutobi's spirit leave my body, and sigh when I take my hand away, and Sarutobi closes his eyes. Naruto, he rasps with a dry voice, what was that? He asks, and I chuckle and lean back. Those were your memories, I say, and see him open his eyes and stare at me. So, what I just saw, it's all true? He asks, and I nod. Not pleasant, right? I've had to experience your memories for the past 6 years, so I know how you feel right now, I say, and see Sarutobi sigh. If all this is true, then that means you've been changing lots of things, he says, and I nod. Be careful, Naruto, you don't know how much you could have changed. The future might not be the same anymore. Exactly, I answer immediately, not at all fazed by his warning. I considered that when I made the choice to come back in time. I'm not an idiot, I was the Rokudan for a reason, I say, and I see Sarutobi nod. You transferred some of your memories as well on purpose, didn't you? He asks, and I nod, before he gets up and dusts off his robes. I will be seeing you as soon as you get out of the hospital. We need to talk about your training, he says, shutting the door right after before I could even ask a question. Training, I ask to an empty room, leaning back on the wall. I can only imagine. Itachi's POV. Naruto, huh? You are like me, strong, but striving for more. It will be interesting to spar with you. I thought to myself. As I near the compound, I see father training Sasuke. Father, may I speak with Otuto? Itachi asks. Of course, Itachi, was his tired reply. Otuto, is there a boy named Naruto in your class? Yes, and Ai-sama, why do you ask? He is an interesting child, Naruto. You would be wise to befriend him. I state, walking to my room, not missing the questioning glance he gave me. Naruto's POV. They're done, I exclaim happily, reading through it to make sure no mistakes were there. I smile. So, Kakashi told you how to get the Manjiki Sharingan, huh? If you're wondering why you can't find that memory, is because I locked it away, to make sure no one got a hold of it. So, what does it say? Well, you must deplete your chakra, then you try to focus chakra into the eyes, it burns for a while before calming down. Repeat 3 more times. Then you must use so much chakra you pass out, but as you pass out, force all of your chakra into your eyes. When you wake up, you should have the Manjiki Sharingan. Doesn't sound too hard. You could die of chakra depletion. I state bluntly. Oh yeah? Silence. Kit, rest. Then I'll wake you up for training, and then tell you when to head to school. Hi, Kyuubi. I hear the doorbell ring, and yell, I'll be there in a minute. Answering the door, I see a man leaning against the frame. Yes, mister? Seizing him up as I spoke. You're Naruto, right? I nod. Good, you have been summoned to dine with the Uchihas. What for, if I may ask? Curious as to why the Uchihas wanted to speak with me. Both Itachi-sama and Itasuke-sama have asked for you. The man states as he looked bored. Well, tell them I will be with them shortly. I reply as the man took the information to his superiors. Shutting the door, I walked to the closet to see if there was anything worth wearing to the Uchiha compound. Eventually I find a black shirt, with equally black pants and a red jacket. This should be suitable, I hope. I say, a little depressed that I had nothing fancy to dine in. Sigh, demonic style, Kitsune fire teleportation. I mutter as I flip through hand signs. In a burst of flame, I'm gone from my apartment, and landing in front of the Uchiha's residence. As I approach the compound gates, I flare my chakra, hoping to catch someone's attention. Just then, an Uchiha guard appears and opens up the gate, and leads me silently to the dining room. As I enter the dining room, I see Itachi. Hello, Itachi and Ai-sama. I greet, happy to see him. Looking to his right, I see Sasuke. Greetings, Sasuke-san. Farther to his right, I see a man which I presume is their father. I take you are Itasuke-sama? I ask, bowing. I am, and you are Naruto, right? The man asks kindly. Hi. Turning to his right, I see Hayashi. And Hayashi-sama, what brings you to the Uchiha compound? Actually, Naruto, we are all here to talk about you. I hear Aji-sama from behind them. Hey, Aji-sama. I speak, happy to see him. That's when I notice a man that looks remarkable like Hayashi. Ano, who are you? I ask, noting the boy behind his leg. His name is Hisashi, my brother, Naruto. Hayashi answers. That must mean the boy behind him is Niji. Hello, Hisashi-sama. Is that boy behind you your son? A smile makes its way to his face as he responds. This is my son, Niji. Greetings, Niji-san. I exclaim. Holy crap, is like I am seeing a Niji with all the angst sucked out of him. That reminds me, I should probably try and save Hisashi. Kit, if you change too many things, you may change the future too drastically for you to know what happens next. Don't worry, Kyuubi, if I don't try at the academy, I'll still end up with Sasuke and Sakura. 6 years later. Naruto's POV, day of the Genin exams. Okay class, we are going to call you one at a time for the test. If you pass, you become Genin, fail, another year at the academy. Irika told the class. Chapter 2. Moving in the Sakura blooms. Grunting as I lean back on my hands, I use my strength to lift my legs up quickly and bring my foot to Super Bushy Brow Sensei's face, sending him into the air, before I landed in a crouch. I spun as I tripped Itachi and I as he charged me, catching him before his fist found my chest. He was thrown him off balance, and I brought my foot to his face, sending him spinning. I activated my Zakugan, Perfect Eye, and leaned forward as Hayashi-sensei almost landed a blow to my back, and I forced him to back off by pushing him back with my foot, giving me room to breath. Getting into the Juken, Gentle Fist, I charged him, trusting my palm forward and watching him lean. After getting into a little bit of a stalemate, he landed a solid blow on my chest and sent me flying back. I grunted as I slid back, I deactivating the Zakugan and ducking as Kakashi-sensei's foot went flying over my head. I brought my foot up, trying to connect with his chin, but he leaned back and grabbed my foot, flinging me over his shoulder. I landed on my feet on a tree and looked up to see Kakashi-sensei following through with another attack. I smirked as I released the chakra in my feet, falling just before Kakashi-sensei landed his follow-up. I jumped away from the tree and turned to land before jumping again at Kakashi-sensei. I knew that he would be able to dodge this next punch, so I decided to surprise him as I focused the maximum amount of chakra into my fist as possible, as I let my fist fly. Just as I had predicted, the chakra I let explode out of my fist as it connected with the tree, smashed it part into pieces and made it fall over. As I looked over my shoulder, I could see the surprise written all over their faces. How super busy Brow-sensei stuttered as the tree fell over and caused a small shockwave on the ground. I relaxed and loosened up my shoulder, as I grinned at their faces. Like it? I've been working on it for the last 3 years, trying to mimic Tsunade's legendary technique, and I thought I'd show it to you guys. The surprise quickly faded from Itachi and Ai's face as he smiled as well. Nice work, Ototo. I didn't know you had that kind of control. Itachi and I complimented with a small bit of pride in his eyes. Nice, Naruto, Kakashi-sensei said as he shook the surprise off, giving me his trademark eye smile. Your chakra control has greatly improved since we started training you. Yes, very impressive, Naruto-kun. Your fiery spirit shines through the training taken to master such a difficult technique. Super Bushy Brow-sensei yelled with his usual vigor. With your control now, you could easily master the Hakushukaten, 8 trigrams palms heavenly spin, Hayashi-sensei commented, with a small smile on his face. All of a sudden, all of our attention was diverted by clapping coming from nearby coming from Aji-sama. That was very impressive, Naruto. Your training with these 4 has been very fruitful, he said with his usual, kind smile. Thanks, Ji-sama. I yelled out with my usual vigor. Not to mention, you've gotten a lot better. I remember that when we started training, you couldn't even make it to a minute. Now look at you. That spar was at least 30 minutes, Kakashi-sensei said happily. Yeah, but if you guys went all out and so did I'd still get my ass handed to me, I said, my grin still not faltering, knowing that would change eventually. Oh well, I should be going home. I promised Sasuke that I would teach him something, Itachi and I said, before disappearing in a poof of smoke. Okay, I guess that's all for today. Thanks again for the training, and see you tomorrow. I yelled as the others bowed before leaving. Only Aji-sama and I stood in the clearing now. Your training is going well, but it never seems to show during school. Why is that, Naruto? He asked as he took out his pipe and lit it. I walked over to lean against the tree and sighed. It's because if I continue like this, it's guaranteed that I'll be on Sasuke and Sakura's team. Also, I don't want anyone to know that I'm this good. It'd only attract attention. True, he said as he walked over to join me against the tree. But I know it's hard for you to sit by and watch yourself get shown up by Sasuke. Again, he said, and I chuckled. That's obvious, but if I want things to be the way they were last time, I have to keep up this charade. And if I stop now, someone would get suspicious and Sakura's mother might pull her from the academy. It might be safer for her, but she lives near the gates. That section of the village was destroyed during the Sand and Sounds invasion, I explained as the old man nodded his head in agreement. I think that this training is really helping you. By the time the Akatsuki comes, you should be able to hold them off, until someone shows up to help. Aji-sama commented, changing the subject, which caused me to chuckle. 3 years earlier. So, Ji-sama, what did you? I trailed off as I entered the office, seeing Itachi, Kakashi-sensei, Hayashi-sama, and Super Bushy Brow-sensei standing there. Just in time, Naruto. I would like you to meet your new sensei, he said with a smile while Hayashi-sama turned back to Aji-sama. Hokage-sama, is this the child you were talking about? I do not wish to be rude, and I don't take offense to his condition, but what would I have to teach Naruto? My only specialty is the Juken. To this, I raised an eyebrow at Aji-sama as well. And that's exactly what I want from you, he replied with a smile. You see, Naruto has a new kind of Kekkai Genkai, blood inheritance limit, and it is my wish that you 4 will train him to use it to his full potential. At this point, Super Bushy Brow-sensei had turned to Aji-sama, and was giving him the nice guy pose. If his youthful spirit is strong enough, then I will gladly train this boy to my best ability. Aji-sama smiled before looking at Itachi. Do you have any problems with this, Itachi? No, none at all. I'd quite enjoy training Naruto, actually, he said as a small smile flashed on his face before Hayashi-sama's eyes caught Aji-sama's attention. Well, if this boy can learn the Juken with his own Kekkai Genkai, then I will accept. This boy looks like he needs some discipline anyway, he said, eyeing me as I grinned. You have any objections, Kakashi? Itachi asked, raising a brow at the XMBU. No, none in particular. It seems to me that it'll be more fun than dealing with the Genin. Then it's official, Uzumaki Naruto is now an apprentice to all of you until further notice. Now, oh well, what do you plan on doing about the invasion? You should be preparing now, seeing as the early bird gets the worm, I said, hearing the Hokage chuckle. I had the seats in the Chunin Stadium built so that they can fall out, and allow the villagers to be led to a safe place. I plan to have ANBU at the site where the 3-headed snake is to be summoned, to keep it from happening. And I'm also making a new evacuation plan to help the villagers and students be escorted to safety quicker than before. And I am making sure that most of the houses within the danger area are insured. he explained to me as I nodded. However, I still don't have a clue about what to do for the fight with Orochimaru, he said with a sigh as I chuckled. Leave that to me, I'm sure I'll have thought of a plan and a few techniques to help you with the undead Hokage by then, I explained while standing up to stretch. Well, I'd better get going, I need sleep if I'm to stay awake during class, and still have enough energy to train with Super Bushy Brow Sensei, I said with grin before I ran off towards my apartment. I couldn't help but sigh as I prepared for the long day ahead of me. I slid the door open and shuffled into the classroom with a yawn, went to my seat in the back next to the window and Shikamaru. I ignored the usual taunts and yelling as I sat at my desk and put my head down to rest my eyes. I heard the click of the door closing and there was instant silence in the room. I deducted that Iruka-sensei had walked into the room. A moment later, I heard the whizzing of something flying through the air and out of instinct, I caught the chalkboard eraser without even lifting my head up. I heard the gasps and realized that was bad. I lifted my head up and decided to play it cool. I said to Iruka-sensei, please don't throw stuff, I had a rough night and wasn't able to get much sleep. I could see the shock on his face before Iruka-sensei quickly shook it off and glared at me. I'm sorry Naruto, but you need to stay awake. I sighed and leaned back in my chair before Iruka-sensei started the class and I dozed off slightly. Wake up Naruto, we're supposed to go outside, I heard voice call out to me. I opened my eyes and saw Shikamaru standing there in his usual hunch. I stood up and yawned and then grinned. Thanks Shikamaru, I just didn't get a lot of sleep last night, I explained and he nodded before I followed him out of the class. I decided to start a conversation so I spoke up. Hey, you like Shugi, right? I saw Shikamaru look over his shoulder at me, before he responded with an obvious yes. Then on the weekend meet me up on the top of the Hokage monument, and we'll play a game. All you have to do is come and I'll bring the refreshments and the board, I said as I grinned watching him throw another glance over his shoulder. I'm sorry Naruto, but you don't seem to the type that would be good at Shugi. Not to brag, but I'm really good, he said in his usual bored tone and I chuckled. Only one way to find out, I replied as I walked ahead of him and out into the field where the rest of the class was waiting. Okay, good, we have the entire class here. Iruka-sensei announced, getting the class's attention. Today is a special training at the request of the Hokage, he said and I perk up a little. We will be sparring with each other today. The Hokage asks that no one holds back or uses deadly force. I couldn't help but sigh at the underlying message to me. Try, but don't hurt anybody. We will be drawing to see who's first, and who your sparring partner is, he said as he walked by holding a box and each student picked a number. I unfurled my piece and smirked since I had a 1 written on mine. Would the students with 1 step up, please, he said and I took a step forward. Sakura-chan followed with the same action. Great, just great, I have to spar seriously and it's Sakura-chan that I have to spar with. Just don't go too hard on her, it's not like you have to hurt her. True, and I might be able to find out how everyone else has progressed. I popped my neck as we went to the center of the clearing. I was a bit taken back when Sakura-chan entered a vaguely familiar stance. That stance? I grinned, and surprising Iruka-sensei and most of the class by charging her. I decided to test out the taijutsu body technique, and find out if it was the one I thought it was. I deliberately threw a punch that was easy to read and Sakura-chan sidestepped it before using one of her hands to lower my arm and the other to deliver a quick palm to my face. I could have blocked it, but since most would have been caught by it, so I decided to take the blow. I smirked, and saw the surprise on Sakura-chan's face. Not bad, Sakura-chan, I declared as I leapt at her quickly and threw a quick and brutal kick at her as Sakura-chan ducked. I smirked as I completed Konoha de Zenpu, Leaf Great Whirlwind, by quickly following with another kick aimed lower than the first, and I watched as Sakura-chan guard against it, and was only sent skidding back. Because of her stance, she was able to guard from the second blow. This is definitely the stance I remember. It's the Taigeiken, River Fist, named so because of its incredible flexibility and beauty. Taigeiken, I whispered as she looked taken aback again. Where in the world did you learn such an advanced taijutsu? She stood up again and regained her stance as she glared at me. If you defeat me I might tell you, she said with a smirk. I grinned as I charged at her again. I threw a punch, which she easily deflected, before I brought my palm towards her face, which she countered by merely leaning back before bringing her own leg up. Using my arm that she had deflected, I blocked the kick and grabbed her leg and threw a kick of my own which she grabbed as well. This is weird, I mumbled as a sweat drop appeared on my forehead, and I let go of her leg and spun, causing her to release my foot. I grinned as I landed on my hands and brought my heel down on her exposed stomach, which caused her to flinch as I stood up before jumping with excessive force and allowing her to land on the ground hard. I see you still haven't mastered it yet, but it's still pretty good, I commented as I turned around and saw her getting up. I raised an eyebrow and I could only smile at her determination. As she got up, I saw her get into an altered version of the stance, which sparked my interest. I decided to see what she would do and I threw caution to the wind as I charged her and threw a normal right-hand punch. That was a big mistake on my part. I could only watch in amazement at her next display of unexpected skill. Using her hand that was closest to me, which was her left, she deflected the blow by pushing my forearm and spinning her palm to grab my forearm. After doing this, she used her other hand and pressed against my elbow to keeping my arm straight as she used her right leg to trip me. After she planted her right foot firmly on the ground, she raised her left leg over my head and brought it down on my head, catching it between her thighs. My line of vision was focused towards the ground. Thank God for that, or I would have been called a pervert. In the background I could hear Irika-sensei starting the countdown. 1. Escape this hold, Naruto, Sakura-chan demanded all of a sudden, catching my attention. 2. What makes you think I can? I replied with a smile. 3. From the way you were fighting back there, she replied with an edge to her voice that I was very familiar with from the earlier days. Maybe I should push this a little bit more, I thought. 4. Very funny, Sakura-chan. The only thing I did back there that had any skill at all was that konoha de zenpu, I responded, hearing her growl. 5. You knew about the taigeiken, which means that you would most likely know other taijutsu, she said with a growl in her voice which made me chuckle. 6. That may be so, but what makes you think I have the skill to escape this hold? I asked, feigning ignorance. 7. You could probably just brute your way out, she said. 8. True, I responded, hearing her growl again. 9. Naruto, she growled lightly, and I could tell that she was almost at her peak. 10. Haruno Sakura is the winner, Irika-sensei called as I chuckled. Too late, I said with a grin. But head, she cursed as she squeezed my head and pressed on my elbow before she let go, causing me to flinch. That hurt, Sakura-chan, I pouted as I sat cross-legged and grinning as she glared back at me. You were holding back, weren't you? She exclaimed. I looked around and realized that this wasn't the best place. I stood up and walked over to her. Yes, I was, and as an apology, how about I treat you to something to eat? If you want to meet me after school at the swing, I whispered, before walking over to the group and watched the rest of the fights. I yawned as the bell for after-school detention rung. I got up before grabbing my backpack and heading out the door. See you tomorrow, Irika-sensei. I called over my shoulder, grinning. See you, Naruto, and try to stay out of trouble, he said, giving me a small smile in return. You're late, I heard a familiar voice call. I look over to see Sakura-chan sitting on the swing. Well, I actually wasn't expecting you to accept. I thought you'd blow me off, everyone else does, I said as I shrugged and started to walk. She was on my heels immediately. So you were holding back during that fight, weren't you? She asked, seemingly calmer than before. Yes, I was, but let's talk about that in a more private place. Does ramen sound good to you? I asked, changing the subject, and I saw her roll her eyes. I guess. Don't worry, it's on me. If anybody asks, I'll just tell them that I lost something and you returned it to me, so I was treating to you dinner as a reward. We'll talk about it when we get there, okay? I asked as she looked at me strangely before sighing and nodding. Since Ichiraku ramen was a decent walk away, we didn't get halfway there before Sakura-chan started to notice the whispers and the glares in our direction. I sighed as I quickly thought of a way to distract her from them. So, who taught you that taijutsu? I asked out of the blue, and she looked surprised before she put on a pride-filled smile. My dad made it, she declared, and I was already thinking, your father is Takahara Makoto? I asked, and she smiled and nodded. Yep. Except, he only goes by Takahara on missions. He adopted my mom's last name, she said, cheerfully at the beginning of the sentence, before dying off. What's wrong, Sakura-chan? I asked, worried, as she looked at me and stopped, seemingly examining me. She trailed off. Mom left my dad and I 2 years ago, over a fight about a demon or something, she said, hanging her head. I couldn't help the pang of guilt that flashed across my heart. My mom kept calling the kid a demon, and my dad kept calling him a hero, until eventually they just left each other. I stayed with my dad, but they haven't divorced yet, and I was hoping that they might get back together. She explained, her eyes still downcast, and I couldn't help what I did next. I walked up to her and placed my finger under her chin and lifted it until her eyes were level with mine. I'm sorry, Sakura-chan, I said, and she gave me a surprised look. It's not your fault, so don't apologize, she said as she put on a fake smile. It is my fault, I said clearly with nothing on my face saying otherwise. I looked down. Somehow I always ended up causing pain. I was the kid they were talking about, I explained, and I saw her eyes grow wide and the hurt in them was obvious. If you hate me now, I don't mind, I proclaimed as I plastered on a giant fake grin. I'm used to it, and you would not be the first and definitely not the last. At these words her eyes grew even wider, and tears brimmed as she stared at me for what seemed like forever. Why, you're used to being hated? She asked as all kinds of emotions were flashing through her eyes before she gave a sudden cry and tackled me with a hug. I was so surprised that I lost my footing and we came crashing to the ground. I'm so sorry, Naruto, she said into my chest as she cried there, which surprised me even more. I realized that this wasn't the best place or time for this, so I got up quickly and used Shunshin, body flicker, to instantly move us to a more secluded place. I was still surprised by this turn of events, and I realized that Sakura-chan was still crying into my chest, so I decided to wrap my arms around her in a hug. Why are you sorry? Don't you hate me? I asked as I saw her look up at me with eyes red from crying. Because you said that you're used to being hated and I was always so cruel to you. I never thought about how you felt. I am the worst, she said, hiccuping here and there. I couldn't help but give her a small, genuine smile. I've never blamed you for that, Sakura-chan. There is no way I would ever hate you, I said, and she looked up at me with surprise and then buried her head in my jacket again. Mom was wrong about you, she said into my chest so softly that I almost didn't catch it. You're too nice to be a monster, she whispered, and I was once again surprised. I smiled as I tightened my hug a little. Suddenly I heard something and pushed Sakura-chan behind me to defend her, which caught her off guard. What were you doing with this kid, demon? A chunin asked as he came out from the bushes. Naruto is not a demon. Sakura responded angrily as she glared at him and took a step out from behind me. What did you do to her, demon? Brainwash her? Trick her? He asked, and as I looked to my side I saw Sakura-chan fuming with anger. He did not. She yelled. You wouldn't know if you were brainwashed anyways. You're just a stupid little kid, and he's a bastard demon, he said, and now my anger had just flared up at the comment about Sakura-chan. Please. Naruto's 1,000 times nicer than you are. She exclaimed, and my anger spiked when I saw him raise his hand at her. Don't you dare harm Sakura-chan, I growled as I grabbed his wrist and threw him at a nearby tree. My chakra flared at full intensity. Stand back, Sakura-chan, I said calmly as I watched the chunin get up and glare at me. You're going to pay for that, demon! He yelled as he charged at me. I activated the Zakugan and I glared right back. Just try it! I yelled as he threw a punch. In his rage he had forgotten basic taijutsu. I just rolled my eyes as I sidestepped the punch and kneed him in the stomach, which caused him to back off. He jumped into the air and I brought up my right leg and brought it down on his skull as he landed, causing him to bend as if he was bowing. I then brought my other leg up and punted him, sending him flying back. Before he could even land I already had my fist at his face charged with chakra. I pulled the punch at the last second, stopping my fist right at his forehead, and I could tell that he sensed the chakra as he closes his eyes. I smirked as he opened an eye and I flicked on the forehead the same way Tsunade Bachan had flicked me, and it sent him flying. He landed against a tree, and just as he was trying to get up again I stepped on his chest, pinning him against the tree. You and your friends can beat on my all you want, but if you raise your hand against my friends, that's where I draw the line, I growled as I watched him start to scamper away before getting up to run. I sighed as I turned around and saw Sakura-chan standing there gapping in amazement with her mouth ajar. That was amazing, Naruto, she whispered as she looked at me astonished. Not really, he forgot his most basic taijutsu, so it wasn't that hard to beat him, I replied as I watched her glare at me slightly. Geez, can't you even take a compliment? She asked, and I laughed. Okay, I guess it was pretty cool, I said as she smiled. That's better, she said as we both chuckled. Well, I still owe you that ramen. Do you still want it? I asked, to which she replied with a smile and nod. That's better than just sitting around the house and waiting for Dad to get home, she stated. I nodded as I came up to her and picked her up bridal style. I used Shunshin to appear in front of Ichiraku and placed her on the ground, causing her to blush. I smiled at her with a cute, innocent face. You're late, Ototo, Itachi and I said as I entered. Sakura-chan came in right behind me. Sorry, Itachi and I kind of got held up, I said as I hopped onto a stool with Sakura hopping onto the one next to me. Don't tell me, Dash, he started to say with a grave look on his face before I grinned and interrupted him. No, actually this time it was the other way around. He raised his hand against Sakura-chan, I said. He looked a little surprised before he glanced past me and noticed Sakura-chan. Sasuke mentioned a Harino Sakura once, he said, which caused Sakura-chan instantly perk up. You know Sasuke-kun? She asked with stars in her eyes, and I grinned. Actually, Itachi and I is his older brother, I said enthusiastically, and she got a confused look on her face. Then, why do you call Naruto Ototo? She asked. I looked at Itachi and I quizzically, and then back to her. Don't ask me, I mumbled as Itachi and I scratched the back of his head. I call him Ototo, because he doesn't have a family, and we're close, he explained, and Sakura-chan suddenly got a crestfallen look on her face as she finally realized what she had said. Oh, she said, I forgot that you didn't have a family, Naruto, she said. I just laughed, which causing her to look up at me. Well, with friends like Itachi and I'm pretty sure I know what a family feels like, I said, which made her smiles a little bit. Are you going to introduce us to your new friend, Naruto? Kakashi-sensei asked as he entered seemingly from nowhere. Hayashi-sensei and Super Bushy Brow-sensei entered shortly after him. Oh, that's right, I haven't formally introduced you guys yet, I exclaimed as Sakura-chan was examining the newcomers. Guys, this is my classmate, Harino Sakura. Sakura-chan, this is Uchiha Itachi, the strongest Uchiha, I said as I pointed at Itachi and he bowed his head a little. Nice to meet you, Itachi-san, she said as she gave him a small, shy smile. This is Hatake Kakashi, also known as the Copy Ninja. I introduced Kakashi as he looked up from his book and gave her his trademark eye smile, and then went back to reading his book. Hello, Hatake-san, she said timidly. Kakashi's fine, he said, without even looking up from his book. This is Mato Guy, but I just call him Super Bushy Brow-sensei, I said with a grin as she snickered at the nickname. Hello, Mato-san, she said, still fighting to hold back her laughter. As usual, Super Bushy Brow-sensei didn't even seem to mind, or notice. Yash! Such youthfulness is inspiring. It is nice to meet you, Sakura-chan, he says excitedly, which caused me to start chuckling. And last but not least is Hyuga Hayashi, the head of the Hyuga clan and also Hinata-chan's father, I said with a grin, as Sakura-chan bowed. Nice to meet you, Hayashi-sama, she said, and Hayashi-sensei bowed in return as he gave a small smile. Nice to meet you too, Haruno-san, he replied, and I grinned. Okay. Time for ramen, I yelled. I could have sworn that I heard the other sigh. That was really fun. Kakashi-san is actually kind of funny, she said with a grin on her face as she walked backwards while I was walking her home. Yeah, he can be sometimes, but truth be told, Kakashi-sensei is kind of lazy, I said. I can see that, she said with a giggle. I scrunched up my face and realized something. You know what? No more than 5 hours ago you were kind of being cold to me and now you're acting like we've been friends for a while, I pointed out. Her smile kind of faltered before she turned around. It's just, I don't have any real friends. At least not since I kind of messed up my friendship with Aino over Sasuke-kun, she explained. I nodded my head even though she couldn't see me. I'm normally shy when I meet new people but for some reason I feel like I can trust your friends, Naruto, she said as she looked over her shoulder and gave me a small smile which I returned with a smile of my own. I'm glad to hear that, I responded, and she turned around and gave me a hug. Thank you, Naruto. I haven't had this much fun in a long time, she said, and I chuckled. Well, anytime you want to hang out, just meet me at the swing after school, I said, and she smiled as she pulled away. That sounds great, she said, and turned around with a sigh. Well, here we are, my house, she said, turning around with a smile. See you tomorrow, Naruto, she said before she headed towards her door. As her dad opened the door, I froze. He's Sakura-chan's father was my last thought before I blacked out. 7 years after Naruto's birth before the time travel. Why? Why me? What did I do to them? I cried in my head as I ran from the 3 jounin that were pursuing me. I took a left without paying attention to where I was going. I came to a dead end and could only whimper and curl up into a ball as I prepared for the beating that would soon ensue. Leave the boy alone, I heard all of a sudden, and I looked up to find a black-haired man with his back to me. He was fairly tall, and he was wearing a jounin flak jacket. I looked at him in total confusion. No one other than Ji-chan had ever defended me before. I was too much in a daze to really listen to the conversation. All I knew was that he was defending me, and before long it was 3-on-1. I could only stare in disbelief as this person fought for me. That's when I noticed one of the other jounin was standing back and preparing a whole bunch of weapons, and he threw them at me. I was too afraid to move. In front of my very eyes, the same man jumped in front of me and defended me from the weapons. I saw him fall on his knees. Are you okay? I yelled, as I ran up to him and completely forgot about the 3 jounin. They realized that they had just attacked one of their own ninja, made a run for it. He was covered with a huge amount of weaponry sticking in his body. Yet, he was smiling at me and I noticed he had very deep, rare green eyes. Are you okay, Naruto-kun? He asked, and I was barely able to nod before I saw his eyes close and he fell backwards. I panicked and started to shake him. I didn't understand what was happening or why he wasn't waking up. Wake up. Why won't you wake up? I yelled and cried, tears streamed down from my eyes as he didn't even move. He started to turn pale and cold. No, don't leave me, what if they come back? I don't want to get hurt again and leave me alone, I said, not realizing that there was someone behind me, until he spoke up. He's dead, Naruto, Ji-chan said as I looked over my shoulder and gave him a confused look. Dead? He's not going to wake up, ever. He sacrificed his life, to save you, Naruto, he explained, and tears started to well up in my eyes even more as it dawned on me. He died for me, I whispered, and I burst out crying, not caring if anyone saw. Why? What did I do for him? I yelled, and I felt Ji-chan's hand on my shoulder. He did it, because he believed that you were a hero, Naruto. Just like I do, he said, and he looked at me as tears still streamed from my eyes. Hero? I asked, and I felt a sudden anger boil inside of me at the thought of me being a hero. I'm no hero. All I do is hurt people. Everybody around me hates me, or says I've taken their family. How can a demon like me be a hero? I yelled, and I saw the look of sorrow on his face at my words. I turned back to the man on the ground. I started to scream at him. Why did you defend me? I'm a demon. I don't deserve to be saved. I continued to yell, the anger at the villagers, the anger at myself, and the anger at everything bad just coming out now as self-loathing. www.hhyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyyy H-H-H-H-H-H-H-H-H-H-Y-Y-Y-Y-Y-Y. I screamed as I sat up abruptly, sweat covered my body. My eyes opened suddenly with fear in them. I started to scan my surroundings. Calm down, Naruto. It was just a dream. I heard Sakura-chan exclaim as she grabbed my shoulders and shook me a little, which caused me to realize that I was not in my apartment. As I lay back down, I grabbed my head as a slight headache started to bother me. Is this your house, Sakura-chan? I asked as I looked at her and watched her nod, before she looked over her shoulder. Dad, could you bring something warm to drink for Naruto? She asked, and I heard a yeah from the kitchen. A moment later, the man from my dreams, apparently Makoto, walked into the room with a mug in his hand, and a smile on his face. Here, drink this, Naruto-kun, it'll make you feel better, he said as I sat up straight and accepted the mug with a bow of my head before I took a long swallow. Were you having a nightmare, Naruto? You kept rolling and mumbling in your sleep, Sakura-chan asked with a look of concern on her face. Yeah, something like that, I mumbled and stared at Makoto, which caused him to chuckle nervously. Thanks, I said, and his smile grows a little bigger. No problem, Naruto-kun. When you just suddenly fainted, Sakura kind of freaked out, he explained, and I looked at Sakura-chan to see her looking away and blushing a little while fidgeting a bit. I sighed and looked down and into the hot chocolate. The memories were flashing through my mind. This man, he saved me that time, and because of me Sakura-chan was left fatherless. Somehow I end up hurting the people I love. Don't think like that, kid. He did it because he thought it was the right thing. Doubting one's will is very disrespectful, Naruto. I know, Kyuubi-kun, I know. It's just, I'm surprised that he's Sakura-chan's father is all. So, this nightmare, mind telling us what it was about? Makoto asked all of a sudden, catching me off guard and causing me to chuckle nervously myself. Just a normal bad dream is all. I have them all the time, I explained, and I could see that he wasn't pleased by that answer. Is to be expected after all, considering my lifestyle. It couldn't have just been a normal nightmare, Naruto. You woke up screaming with a look of, what I could only call, pure sorrow on your face. Sakura-chan reasoned as she gave me that look that tells me she knows I'm lying. Don't worry, it was nothing. It's over and done with now, so let's forget about it, I said, trying to avoid talking about the subject. And I could see from the look on Sakura-chan's face that she wanted to keep prying, but Makoto stopped her. Well, if you don't want to talk about it, that's your business. But I'm sure Sakura and I are ready and willing to listen to what you have to say at any time, Naruto-kun, he said, giving me a fatherly smile, and I couldn't help but grin back. Finishing my hot chocolate, I stood up and stretched. Well, I better get going. It's going to be dark soon, and I need to get going, I said, and Sakura-chan stood up too, glaring at me. And no way, Naruto, she said, her dad and I giving her a strange look. You live alone, right? And you probably don't eat healthily, right? She asked, and I nodded, dumbfounded at her attitude. Then you're staying here, she said, and her father and I once again just gaped at her. Pink-haired girl said what? I said, dumbfounded. We have an extra room. My dad always cooks a nutritious dinner and breakfast, and it's just not right for a 9-year-old to be living by himself, she said with conviction, leaving me with very little to say. But don't you need your father's permission? I asked, too surprised by this turn of events to do anything else. I wouldn't mind at all, actually, he said all of a sudden, giving me a smile. I could only stand there, dumbfounded. Then it's been decided. You'll be living with us from here on, Sakura-chan proclaimed with an air of victory about her. I sighing and resigned to just letting it happen, realizing that Sakura-chan was too stubborn to argue with. Well, I still need to get my stuff, I said, and Sakura-chan was already at the door, smiling. Then let's go get your stuff, she said, causing me to laugh before I walked to the door myself. I guess we'll be back in an hour, and sorry for any inconvenience, I apologized, as he gave me a smile and waved us off. As we're walking to my place, it was kind of hard to miss the awkward silence. Neither of us wanted to talk, and I couldn't understand that on Sakura-chan's part. Just to let you know, this doesn't mean I like you, she blurted out all of a sudden, and it dawned on me and I chuckled. I know, you like Sasuke, I amended for her, and she smiled before giving me a nod, walking backwards again. You know, one of these times you're going to bump into something, I said offhandedly, and she giggled. That's why you're not walking backwards, to keep me from bumping something, she explained, and I just shook my head. This is taking too long, I mumbled to myself and stopped. Sakura-chan noticed and stopped too. What was that, Naruto? She asked, not mad or anything, just curious. I said this was taking too long. A few of the more rowdy and drunk villagers come out about now, so we need to get there quickly, I explained, and she got a worried look on her face at the prospect. So, to get there quickly, you need to hold on to me, I explained, and she looked a little surprised at that before she blushed and walked over to me, wrapping her arms around my midsection, seeing as I'm taller than her this time around, thank God. Since my place was far away, I had to concentrate quite a bit of chakra before using the shunshin. We reached my house in a matter of seconds. You can let go now, Sakura-chan, I said, and she scrambled away in embarrassment. So, what do I need to bring? I asked, and she shook her head before saying that I just needed the necessities, clothes, bed sheets, PJs, and anything else I had of value. Simple enough, I muttered before making my most used seal. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Technique. I called and I saw Sakura-chan's jaw drop to the floor. Kage Bunshin? She asked, dumbfounded, and I chuckled. Yeah, it's actually not that hard for me. The real challenge is still the Bunshin no Jutsu, clone technique. I have way too much chakra to do it correctly. Even with my really good chakra control, I explained as she can just gapped at the Kage Bunshin running around the house and gathering my stuff to seal them in scrolls. But this is a B-rank technique. This shouldn't even be possible for an academy student, she exclaimed, and I chuckled. Well, I'm no ordinary academy student, am I? I asked, and she gapped at me, before the clones came to me, each giving me a scroll, before dispersing themselves. But you have to keep this a secret. You can't let anybody know that I know this, otherwise I'd just be in more trouble from the villagers, I said, and that knocked her out of her reverie. Why? She started, and I turned around to look at her. Do the villagers hate you? She asked, and I flinched, expecting this question. Let's just say that they're blind to the truth, I responded, and she kind of glared at me. And I plan to save them from it, and from anything else I added, and she looked like she'd just been slapped. Save them? Even though they hate you, you want to save them? She asked, and I chuckled. Everybody needs a savior now and then, even if they don't realize it. I handed out this sage advice, giving her my old grin. I watched her reaction. I could only grin a little wider when she returned my grin with a smile. Well, we should get going back, I said, before I noticed a shadow in the corner, and I got between the shadow and Sakura-chan defensively in an instant. Don't worry, Naruto, it said as Itachi and I stepped out of the shadow with his Crow A and BU mask on. Don't scare me like that, Itachi and I thought you were a threat, I said, loosening my guard as I heard Sakura-chan let out a breath behind me. Sorry, but I was just wondering where you were going with all your stuff. He trailed off, and I could just feel the curious glance he was giving me from behind that mask. Sakura-chan's forcing me to live her and her father, I explained, and the confusion came off him in waves. Forcing you? He asked, and I chuckled. Not really much choice in the matter when Sakura-chan's made up her mind. She's kind of stubborn, I explained, and I felt her smack the back of my head. Well, if you're moving to different living conditions, I'm pretty sure we should inform the Hokage, Itachi and I said, and I gave him a grin. I know, but let me drop my stuff off at Sakura-chan's first, I explained, and he nodded before disappearing in a flash of leaves. A moment later, I felt Sakura-chan wrap her arms around my torso again, and I smiled a little before using the shunshin to appear in front of her house. Drop this off in my room. I need to go with Itachi and I to tell Aji-sama, I said, handing her the scrolls before I disappeared and reappeared in Aji-sama's room, and Itachi and I was already there. Itachi was just informing me of your new living conditions, Ji-sama said with that same smile on his face, and I chuckled. Yeah, Sakura-chan kind of forced me to, I explained as I walked up to his desk and rubbed the back of my head. Well, I have no problem with it, as long as her father doesn't mind either, he said, and I gave him a grin. He's already said yes, I said, and he nodded, waving Itachi and I off. You know who he is, right? He asked, and I flinched a little. Yeah, I remember, I responded as I looked anywhere but at him. When that happened, I almost thought you had cracked. You were quiet for the entire academy year, but you started to become your old self again, so I was happy. How is this going to affect you? Living with the first person you saw die, he asked, and I took a deep breath. I don't think it'll affect me all that much. He's alive now, and now I can repay him, I said, and Aji-sama gave me a nod as he sighed. Okay then, but I'm sure he wouldn't want you to repay him, if he'd remembered, he said, and I nodded before I got out of there and went back to Sakura-chan's house. I knocked on the door. You know, you don't have to knock, this is now also your house too, Makoto said as he answered the door, and I grinned. Sorry, kind of an old habit, knocking at other people's houses, I said as I walked in after him and closed the door. Well, I take it you got permission? Seeing as how a whole squad of A and BU just perched themselves outside, he said, and I just chuckled. You noticed that? I used to get a lot of beatings and I sometimes still do, but they slowed it from a daily thing to a monthly thing, I explained as I sat down on the couch and let my head rest over the back of it, closing my eyes. Sakura's taking a shower, so I wouldn't suggest going in there unless you want to be beaten to death, he said with a nervous chuckle. He was uncomfortable with the current subject, and I laughed too, knowing that's pretty much how it would turn out. A moment later I heard something flying through the air and I caught it. I looked up and saw the key in my hand. Just in case you're ever locked out of the house, he explained with a smile, and I smiled in return. Hey Dad, is Naruto back? She said as she walked out of the bathroom in nothing but a towel wrapped around her. She blushed and ran back in the bathroom. She's not used to other guys being over, he explained, and I laughed as I stretched my neck and stood up. I'm going upstairs to my room, Sakura-chan, so you can come out in a minute, I yelled loud enough for her to hear, and I heard a small okay in response. I went up the stairs and I went to the door that was slightly ajar, and peeked in and found out that it was my new room. It had a plain sky blue wall and a single window. I smiled as I entered and closed the door behind me. I took my time to unseal and set up everything in the room. I could only grin as the once plain room was now transformed into my own little haven. Nice, I heard behind me, and I turned around to see Sakura-chan leaning on the door frame and smiling at the setup. Thanks, just a bunch of stuff I like, I said, and she rolled her eyes at the obvious. Well, I'm heading off to bed now. Just to let you know, and I always take a shower in the morning, so enter at your own risk, she said with a small grin, and I chuckled nervously as she entered the room across the hall. Night, Naruto, she said as she closed the door behind her. I closed my own door, and lay on my shuriken-printed bedsheets. I could only let out a sigh. This'll be interesting. Chapter 3, The Discovered Loves, The Fear of Loss and the Confessions. There were many whispers about my current living arrangements at school. It created some misunderstandings. I was surprised at seeing Hinata get teary-eyed and ran off the classroom. I was never good at reading a woman's actions and behavior. Hey Naruto, how is it living with Sakura? Kiba asked with Akamaru perched over his head. Where the hell did you heard that from? I yelled. Damn it Naruto, I got sensible ears. Kiba said, cleaning his ears with his fingertip, and I heard it as a rumor. Rumor? Oh Ino. Sasuke asked me to tell you something about undying love or something, Naruto said. Ino knocked everyone to make way to Naruto. What did he say? What? she said in a giddy manner. Ninpo, mind exploring technique, I said, pressing my fingertips on Ino's forehead. I then explored the last 24 hours of memories that Ino had experienced. I then discovered that Ino was going to visit her when she saw me carrying Sakura and disappearing. Too late to do something to those memories. How did I not realize her being there? I asked myself. Probably because her smell. Sakura-chan smelled the smell I have burned in my mind from the one I loved the most, the one I lost but now I have found again. Just kidding, Ino, I smiled goofily. This is going to hurt, I think to myself. Naruto no baka, Ino said, hitting me on the head. Ino, stop being mean to Naruto, Sakura admonished her old best friend. Oh, so you given up on Sasuke and trying to pick the run of the litter? Ino said, smiling. I forgot how evil Ino could be, I thought to myself. I picked myself up and dusted myself. Just ignore her, you are the only one who knows just how strong I really am, I said, smiling sweetly at Sakura. Ino seethed. Loser, Ino said to him as she sat on the back. In the moment 2 persons popped into the room. One was Irika-sensei. I thought, a lone tear forming in my eyes. Flashback 4 years before the time travel. Konohamaru, look out! Irika yelled as he used Kawamiri on Konohamaru. Irika-sensei. Why? Konohamaru said, teary-eyed. Because the youth is what will rekindle the flames from Konohage, Irika said. I ran as fast as I could and I see a sound ninja decapitating Irika. I lost it. You are all dead, I yelled as I turned into Four Tails mode. I wanted them all to die. I killed them 41,000. I swatted them as if they were mere insects. Bloody tears coursed off my eyes. After the massacre was over, I go to Irika's head and I hug it. I am so sorry. In the end I was not there to protect you, I said as I fall into my knees, emotionally exhausted as I was. Back to the past, which is now the present. And to help me instruct you all will be Mizuki. Hey kid, look who is here, Kyuubi informed me. Oh, so I need to do a repeat performance when I was in the academy, correct? Naruto cited. This will be a long year. After classes that same day. Hey, today isn't it today the day when the Cloud was supposed to sign the treaty? I asked to my furry tenant. Yes it is, Kit. So what will you do this time around? Will you save him, or rather leave him be? Kyuubi asked me. I will save him, but first I will need a disguise, I said. At Sakura's, currently, as well as mine house. I see, I need to find those papers. Where did I put those maps? Here they are, I said triumphantly. Let's see if the Hyuga compound is this way and the kidnappers come over here, then I should intersect them over here and be me the one who kills him rather than I trailed off. A familiar scent appeared to close by. I hid the maps and made a Kaigat Bunshin to take my place on bed while I used a henge and transformed into AA form he was most comfortable in. Is good to be big again, I said as I flexed my muscles, although sighting since this was just an illusion I had to grow back to my old self. I escaped from the house. I left the window unlocked so my clone could open it. I quickly jumped the roofs on the full moon night, but the moon was red in color. Trouble will be a brewing. Hyuga compound. The alarm goes off. Someone has taken Hinata-sama again. That last art was done in a whisper. Naruto then jumped and put on a henge mask to appear as an ANBU. Hyuga-san, report to me what is going on, I asked. Hinata-sama has been kidnapped, Hyuga said. Which way? I asked, muscles tensed. Northeast. Hurry please, ANBU. With that I disappeared in a twirl of leaves. Hinata, please wait for me, I said as I activate my Kikei Genkai. Everything was slowed down, everything was significant. My sight then expanded 200%. I scanned the surroundings. I found the familiar scent of Hinata and her familiar chakra signature. Hey you! Drop the girl on the floor and give up, I commanded. Who is there? The ninja from the cloud asked. I am the protector of the villagers. I am the bane of their existence, yet I am the only one who contains the beast they fear, the one who was offered to obtain the power trough. Human sacrifice. I am Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, he said, dispelling his illusion. Here I was worried, kid. Go home. You saw nothing, the ninja said. 13 Kunai found a new home on his left leg. Yeah! He yelled in pain. Kyuubi, come on out and play. Your dinner is served, I said as I flash hand signs. Flashback to before time travel, 3 hours before time travel. Hey Kyuku, and I know I am the last frog summoner alive. No, but is there a way to summon your kin of demons? At least for a short while? I asked. There is, but it takes incredible amounts of chakra. But since you are going back, I might as well give you this. This are the hand signs to summon my kin. Use it well, Kit. Back. Demonic summoning jutsu. Kitsune Yukai. Yelled as I slammed the palms of my hand to my navel. Welcome to the real world, Kyuku, I said, smiling at the 40-foot orange demonic fox. Roa rare. Eat him, but leave a few pieces for the animals to finish it. If I want to make it look as an accident, Naruto said to the fox. The fox nodded and spit a few bones with some blood. The fox dissipated as it was fog. Naruto then begun to glow red until it died down. He carried Hinata on his arms. Hinata-chan, hey Hinata-chan, are you okay? I asked her to wake her up. And then Naruto-kun? Where am I? Hinata looked around. Naruto-kun, get out. You are in danger, Hinata said, latching on me. Hinata, that's okay, I found you over here on my midnight stroll. The guy who kidnapped you, it seems he was food for an animal. I grabbed Hinata's head so she could not see the remains. I put her closer to my chest. I felt something wet on my shirt. I was so scarred, I thought no one would come. Oh, Naruto-kun, she said. I am just happy you are alright. I was worried for a second, I said, only to be met by something smooth on my lips. Naruto, I was so afraid of never being able to tell you this, Naruto-kun. For a long time I've been seeing you from afar, always watching. Naruto-kun, I love you, Hinata said. I was taken back by this revelation as she broke the long kiss. Naruto, I love you more than anything, but I know you like Sakura Harino, but wouldn't you look at me at least once? She said that to me with teary eyes. Hinata-chan, I said. I carry her back home where the guards interrogate me on the circumstances, and they asked me why I was blushing madly. I then stealthily enter back home. As I enter, a single light from the lampstand turns on. The clone was being held hostage by Sakura-chan? I asked, disbelieving the current situation. Where did you go? Sakura said, popping the Kage Bunshin. Well, to tell you the truth, I was just going for midnight training, Naruto said, smiling. Sakura gave me look over. Fine, good night, Naruto. Crap, now I got Sakura-chan mad at me, I thought, as I pulled the covers over me. Maybe you should told her about your exploit of today? The fox said. Yeah, that would be oh so believable. Hey Sakura-chan, I fought against a jonin from another village, summoned the Lords of Nine Tails, and killed him. Oh, and Hinata confessed her love to me, and she kissed me, more like ravaged me, I said to the fox. Well, when you say it that way, sheesh, the fox said. Yeah, but how will we deal with this? I said to the fox. Like we deal with anything else, wait, we see and we act accordingly, the fox said. Good night, fox, I said. The next day. Well, today is gonna be really hard, we got to deal with this, I thought out loud. Deal with what, Naruto? I hear a voice. Ah. Sakura-chan. I am still changing, I yelled. She looked at me while I was putting my pants on. Her face then turned beet red and she ran out of the door. It's okay, I am decent now, I said as she peeked from the door. She looked so cute, the redness on her face, it was priceless. You ready for school, kids? His dad yelled. In a minute, Sakura said. They both darted from home. As I jumped the roof, the gentle cool winds signified the beginning of winter. As the sun rose to the sky, they reached the academy. I used Sunshin to enter the school. I did not want people thinking we are a couple, since they would torment Sakura to no end. The class was boring. Naruto knew all about this. He was bored the hell out of his mind, but he needed this. Naruto Uzumaki, please come over here and do the Bunshin Jutsu, Mizuki said. So is the testing again, gotta play along, I thought to myself. Bunshin no Jutsu, I yelled, knowing full well the futility of my being able to create simple Bunshins. Simply put, I got so much freaking chakra, and that means I need more control in order to use simply techniques that require a little of chakra. Since I got too much, it would be rather difficult for me to use one spoon if I have an ocean of water. Needless to say, the clones were less than perfect. Actually, they were horrible, they looked dead. I smiled sheepishly. Irika looked distressed. You fail, Irika said. I act downcast, and after class I go to the school roof citing Mizuki, then appeared smiling. Hey there, Naruto. Hello yourself, you backstabbing bastard. Right now I want nothing more than killing you, but I need to redo this instance, I thought to myself. Hey there, Mizuki-sensei, I said with a little sadness. I know Irika is a bit thought, but it's just because he is like you. But how about I tell you a little secret, Mizuki said. Same day at night. I need that scroll again. Good thing Gigi is not around, since he knows what is it that I am doing. Well, might as well learn something other than the Kage Bunshin. But what? I said to myself. The Hokage then turns the alert to find Naruto, who has stolen the secret scroll. A bunch of ANBU and Jounin were on the siege of Naruto. I always been an elusive little thing. Truth be told, I had stealth skills of that of an ANBU since I was a kid. Thought Irika was the only person who could find me. I went to the forest and started using the Kage Bunshin. I used 30 of them to learn a secret ninja art, the one that my father was famous for, the Hiroshin. It was, to say the least, impossible to learn with only 30 Bunshins, sir, in a few minutes. I dispelled all the Bunshins and Irika the popped up. Found ya, said smiling. Man, Irika-sensei, I only got the chance to learn a single technique from the scroll. Mizuki-sensei told me that you would have to pass me after that, I said in a fake exited voice. Mizuki said that? Irika said. Naruto, watch out, Irika yelled as he pushed me aside. A Fuma shuriken then lodged on his back. He coughed up blood. Irika-sensei, I yelled. Memories of him dying flooded my mind. Irika-sensei, don't move, I will take care of him, I said as I went for my kunais. Naruto, do you know why the villagers hate you? Mizuki said. Because of the Kyuubi? I said. Mizuki was taken back. I have known for a long time it does matter. No matter what they think or say about me, I am nothing more than the jailer of their fear, but I am not the demon, yet I can wield his power as my own, I yelled as I charged at him. Mizuki barely had time to reach as a swift kick hit him right on the chest, breaking 2 of his ribs. Damn you, demon, Mizuki said as he fell back. Kage shuriken jutsu, I yelled as my single shuriken became many. Arg, Mizuki yelled as he got skewered by the rain of shuriken. Naruto, Irika said in amazement. Stand up, you piece of trash, Naruto said, picking him up. Mizuki then took the chance to stab me right in the navel. I just smiled. My tenon heals me. You gotta do better than that, Mizuki. Damn you, I will kill you, he said, charging up to me. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, I said. What's the matter, Mizuki? I said. Are we too much to handle? Said the rest of the clones. What? Mizuki said, cowering in fear. Come on. No? Then we are coming for ya, all of us said. Mizuki was unconscious after the beating. How was that, Irika-sensei? I said. Naruto, close your eyes, Irika said. I then felt the cloth being wrapped around my forehead. Congratulations, graduate, Irika said. I began to tear again and hugged Irika-sensei. Wanna eat some ramen? Irika said. I thought you would never ask, I said, smiling. On Ichiraku's ramen stand. So Naruto, why did you never said anything about your burden to anyone? I am sure someone would have, Irika said, only to be interrupted by me. Irika-sensei, can you really be that naive? I mean, if they knew that I can actually control the demon in me, what do you really think it might happen? They want to kill me. Already, can you imagine what they would do if they knew of that? I said. You are right, Irika said. Your orders are up. Old man Ichiraku said. After eating his fair share of ramen, roughly 8 bowls, he excused himself as he went to Sadra's home. Naruto. What's wrong? How did you fail? When you know an advanced jutsu as Kage Bunshin? Sakura said. Who said anything about me failing? I said, smiling while I hit my forehead protector. Sakura then smiled and hugged Naruto. Congratulations. She said. Thanks, Sakura-chan. I said. But let's take a shower and go to bed tomorrow as our team placement. Okay, but Naruto, you go first, Sakura said, blushing madly. I leaned on her and sniffed her. You smell nice. You just took a shower, right? I said, smiling. She had a terrible blush just like Hinata had when she kissed me. I took my time on the shower and looked at my chest where the scar had been on my chest. The scar from a Chidori, Sasuke's Chidori, back in the Valley of the End. I sight well, at least his family is alright and will not turn into the little psycho much. I rinse my hair and step out of the shower. My thoughts are on one thing. Gigi-san better make Kakashi our team leader, cause if it's any other way this might not work at all, I mentally yelled. As I ponder on the implications, I find myself face to face with Sakura, who came out for some milk. In my shock, I tripped and fell over Sakura. Okay, this is awkward, I said. Sakura's face was bright red, but her eyes, they were transfixed on mine. I should get up now, said as I gather myself and dash from my room. Sakura was just speechless as she moved. She did not know what possessed her to stay like that. Could she really be? The next day. Welcome this year's graduate students. I wish the first most apologies. Mizuki will not be able to attend today for some unforeseen events, but fortunately this will not impede the graduation. I will now say the team members and Jonin-sensei, so please pay attention. Naruto Irika said as the class laughed. Team 9 will consist of Naruto Uzumaki, Haruno Sakura, and Uchiha Sasuke. Irika said. You Jonin-sensei will be Hatake Kakashi, he said, but Naruto was nowhere to be seen. Where is Naruto? Sakura asked. Yes. Yes. Oh, thank Kami in the sky, yes. I yelled as I hopped over roof to roof. Needless to say, a lot of the villager just looked at me and said he finally gone nuts. Oh crap. I got to go and lay my prank for Kakashi, I said as I sunshined back to school. I decided as I stepped in to put a bucket with a little slime gooey substance and a few low-level explosion seals. Naruto-sensei is gonna get angry at that, Sakura. Sasuke just sighed and I heard a faint word, dope. Team, I said without looking at him. Naruto, don't be mean to Sasuke, Sakura said. Be quiet, I think he is coming, I said as I hushed her. Kakashi then opened the door. He cut the bucket with a kunming, but he got covered by the goo. Then, as he walked, he tripped and fell into a trap that covered him in feathers, and then he spoofed. Ah man, Kawamiri? I said, disappointed that my prank was foiled. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is I hate you all, Kakashi said. Meet me on the roof at 3, he said, and disappeared. Well, then that means we got till at the very least till 6, I said, yawning. Why do you say that? Sakura asked him. Well, I train with him, and I know he suffers from CTD, I said. CTD? What's that? Sakura asked. Chronic tardiness disorder, I said, laughing. So wanna go and eat, Sakura-chan? Sasuke? I said. Sure, why not, Sasuke said, shrugging a bit. Over at the restaurant a few miles from Ichiraku. Wow, Naruto, I did not know you knew a place like this, Sakura said. Well, I come whenever I can afford it. And on a huge hinge. The food here is really good, is very delectable, I said, shocking both my new teammates. What? I asked. Who are you and what have you done with the dobe, Sasuke said. Hey. I am smart, sort of. Hey, stop laughing, Sakura-chan, I said, pouting as Sakura laughed. What will you and your friends order today, sir? The waiter asked. I will have the Peking orange sauce duck, I said. I'll have miso soup and Austrian sauce pig, Sasuke said. And you, little miss? The waiter asked. I'll have the Caesar salad, Sakura said. Very well, your orders will be done in a few minutes, the waiter said. The restaurant had fancy bread to eat. It had a garlic flavor with buttery flavor as well. Sakura was addicted to those, Sasuke too, they were really addictive. A good 10 minutes after, dinner is served, the waiter said as he served the dishes to each student. Whoa! This is delicious, Sakura said. Wow, for Adobe, you know your stuff, Sasuke said, smiling as he ate. I'll take that as a compliment, team, I said, smiling as I ate the duck. Boys, be nice, Sakura said. Yes, do as the little lady said, a male voice said. They turned around and found Kakashi-sensei? I said, flabbergasted. I am not amused of you missing the team meeting, Kakashi said. Wait, you mean you actually got on time? I said. Okay, who are you and what have you done to Kakashi? Naruto said. Mama, I am the Kakashi, the one and only, or you want me to prove it to you? Kakashi said. Oh, how so? I asked. You wanted people to see my little orange book? Kakashi said. Whoa, Kakashi man, don't bring that out, we are minors, I said. Well, technically I am not, I think to myself. Wanna eat? You might as well order something, Naruto said. Kakashi blinked. Well, it's not every day I get to eat in a luxurious restaurant, Kakashi said. You should get a girlfriend and take her here, I am sure it would be romantic, I said. Well, great meal notwithstanding, why don't you all formally introduce yourselves, give a bit of info about your likes and dislikes, hopes and dreams, Kakashi said. Don't bother asking him, thought I said, he will only tell you his name, I said, deadpanned. Okay, how about you, the little dame? Mama, I am ordering the Sand Dragon special waiter, Kakashi said as his new team's sweat dropped. Well, I am Haruno Sakura, my likes, well, I am undecided, she said, looking at Sasuke and then at me. My dislikes are people who don't take time to get to know someone before passing judgment, and my hobbies are taking care of myself. My dream for the future is, she just blushed at the last part. It seems as kunoichi are more focused on love than ninjutsu, Kakashi thought. Okay, you Naruto, you introduced yourself, but introduce yourself to your teammates. Oh my god. The sand dragon is delicious is melting in my mouth, Kakashi said as he ate his meal. The team's sweat dropped. Okay, I am Naruto Uzumaki. My hobbies are training and eating ramen and pranks. I like ramen and I dislike the 3-minute wait for ramen to cook. My dream is to be the best Hokage ever. Databeo. Naruto said. Interesting, Kakashi thought. Now you the emo-looking one, Kakashi said. I am Sasuke Uchiha. My dream is to surpass all the Uchihas before me. My hobbies are training with my older brother. My ambition is to kill the one who tried to frame my brother, Sasuke said. Alright, I think we are about done. Okay, tomorrow meet me at the training area 7 for our new mission, Kakashi said. Yada! What mission? I said. Is more of a test really to see how you guys are ready to be genin, Kakashi said. Eh? And what about the academy test? Sakura said. Well, those were to see if you had a chance out here. But this is the real test. To pass this test you have to survive me, Kakashi said. This test has a 66% failure rate though, and if you don't like to throw up don't eat brave fast, Kakashi said with a smile. Eye of his dismissed. With that he left us to our own devices. Well, I am off to train. Coming, Sasuke? Sakura-chan? I said. What can you do that might interest me? Sasuke said. I can beat you very badly, I said smirking. Like a dope, like you could even touch me, Sasuke said smirking. Oh? But Itachi knees and said I am pretty good. He said if I keep training like I do every day I could surpass him in only a couple of years, I said. Sasuke was walking away until he heard the last part. Dope, fight me, Sasuke said. How about we make this interesting? If I win you have to follow my lead tomorrow on Kakashi's little test. If you win I'll follow whatever you said, I said. Whatever you say, he said as he charged at me. I easily dodge him, and I extend my foot, and he trips. However he quickly recovers and gives me a roundhouse kick. It hits me square in the jaw. I am sent flying as Sasuke appears above me and kicks me to the ground only to find a log. Kawamiri. Sasuke then quickly spins to dodge a devastating attack from Naruto. His eyes go like saucers when he sees the crater from Naruto's kick. If one of those touch me I am a goner. Sasuke though, as he got close to hit him with a punch. I spin as I catch his fist and I jump over him and flip him over. Then, Katan, Gokaki no Jutsu, Sasuke says as he blows fire at me. Ah crap was all I could say as the attack hits me by surprise. Naruto! Sakura yells. That was mean, Sasuke, I said as I walk in the flames. But now is my turn, I said. Futten, Kaze no Jaba, I said as blades of wind cut Sasuke down to size. I disappear from his view only for him to fell a kunai to his neck. I win this round, Tim, I said smirking. You still a dope, but a bet is a bet, Sasuke said. Wow, Naruto was so cool like that. He is even better than Sasuke, Sakura said. So this is why Itachi and I said to be close to him. He is strong, perhaps he could help me with my goals, Sasuke said. Sasuke-kun, do you want to go on a date? Sakura asked. Now if only I could pry this pink-haired fangirl and be left alone for a while, Sasuke thought as he rolled his eyes. No thanks, I got to train with an Ai-san as his day off, and he promised to train me. He rarely gets any days off, and well, he said as he say Sakura give him a puppy eyes. Ah crap, not the sad puppy eyes, arg man, why do girls are so good at using that? No matter, training comes first, Sasuke thought. Inhaling, sorry Sakura, but maybe some other time, Sasuke said, when you and Ino become normal, and stop chasing me so much. I mean I gotta use a excuse just to shop for clothing and weapons, Sasuke thought. Oh okay, Sakura said disappointed. Hey Sakura-chan, why not train with me? I got a couple of things to show you, I said. Alright, lead the way, oh great leader, Sakura said laughing. They both run to the forest as Sasuke dashed back home. End chapter. No Jutsu. Chapter 4, Importance of Teamwork. Well, Sakura-chan, as you know I am really no ordinary genin, I said. Ahuel, that is kinda obvious being able to pull Kage bunshins like that, Sakura said. Well, nevertheless I possess a unique Kiki-I Genkai, so unique that in fact I am the only one who has it, I said to her. Is called the Matengen, I said as I turned them on. I continued to explain the Matengen has abilities such as seeing Tenketsus, and seeing 360 degrees, like the Byakugan, and reading an opponent's movement like the Sharingan. Sakura gasped as my eyes the Matengan split the irises into 8 even sections, in a pattern that went red, blue, and so on until it comes back to the original sections. My pupil turns silver, with a ring around it, like the Sharingan, but the Tomo are shaped like tears and are silver as well. I have 2 in my right eye and 1 in my left eye. They look beautiful, your eyes, Sakura said as she blushed after realizing what she had said. Thanks, but right now I am going to teach you some combat, I said. I want you to kill me, I said in a dead serious tone. Blondie said, what? Sakura said, not believing what she just heard. I want you to try and kill me, anything goes. I will not touch you. If you can even lay a single scratch on me I will teach you an incredible jutsu, I said smirking. You are on, Sakura said jumping. Kunai at hand, she tried to slash me, thought there was no intent to kill in her. No, this won't do at all. You have to come at me with intent to kill, I said to her. I disappeared from her sight, and then she felt a small tug on her nether regions. Oh Sakura-chan, you lost something? I said this should be just about right, I thought to myself. Nani? Sakura said as she felt a draft on her lower regions. She patted herself. Naruto, she said menacingly. Attack, slash. Hold still, you little perv, Sakura said as she chased me around the training area. To slow, I shouted as I bounced from the rocks and trees and created speed bunshins, after images. I deftly dodged every single hit of hers for me. This was not even a decent workout. This is boring me. Hey, perhaps I should give these to Sasuke? I said smirking. Sakura blushed. Naruto, come on over here, Sakura said angry. A single punch connected on me and it sent me skidding over and over and over till, poof. Congratulations Sakura, you pass, I smile as I jump out of the tree. Nani? Sakura was confused. Well, to be totally honest, I used a genjutsu on you as soon as I activated my Matengen. My Jujutsu put you on an illusion of my own design and wanted to see if you could be able to do what it took to try to really hit me, I said to her. So my panties, Sakura begun and blush. You're what? I said, since I got no control over the illusion, I just know when the criteria has been met, I said. Okay Naruto, but now what? Sakura said, checking once more to make sure her panties were on. Okay, I know that you are the best at chakra manipulation, therefore what we are going to do is teach you how to use that chakra manipulation and strengthening your punches. What I want you to do for today is hit the trees in here and release a lot of chakra at the moment of impact, but make it so you don't waste it, I said to her. Sakura goes to the tree and begins training. As I watch her, I slowly begin to tear up. This seems like a dream, like I have just woken from a nightmare. Boom! The tree exploded from the punch. Then again, if I train her too well, I'd better train her, but not enough for her to actually kill me if she gets mad, I think to myself. What now, Naruto? Sakura said, looked up to me. Well, we might as well train how to climb up a tree but without hands, Naruto said. How is that possible? Sakura asked. Well, you use chakra to adhere into the trunk of the tree, you might want to get a head start, I said. Sakura then begun the tree training. I know it was a bit too early, but it was a good idea. She went over and over, failing the first few times. Concentrate, Sakura-chan. You can do it. I cheered her on. After her 10th time, she finally reached the top. Look Naruto, look how high I am, Sakura said. You did great. But how about we take a dip on a nearby river? I said. Okay, but no peeking, she said. Okay, sheesh, way to ruin a guy's fun, I said. What? Nothing. After taking a dip on the river, Sakura swam close by me. Naruto. Yes, Sakura-chan? What really went over that night? The night I found your Kagebunshin. You really don't want to know, but I will tell you, not now, only when I think you are ready for it, I said. You don't trust me, Naruto? Even thought we live under the same roof? Sakura said. Is not about trust, it's just you are not ready, not now, at least for my secrets, I said. I walked over to her and hold her on an embrace. Naruto, Sakura said, surprised. Just let's stay like this at least for a while longer? I said as I held her. Hi Naruto, she said as she embraced me as well. They stayed like this for a good 10 minutes, I then broke the embrace. We should head home, Sakura-chan, I said. They both walked towards their home. Sakura and Naruto then passed by Ichiraka's ramen stand. You wanna eat, Naruto? She asked me. I'd rather walk with you, I answer, making Sakura blush. They started to walk. Kitty, you have grown a lot, you deserve to be happy. Whatever you do, I will make it possible, as it's within my power to help you attain that which you have longed for long, the love of the woman of your kin, the fox thought as he saw the young blonde walk with the pink-haired girl. Hey! Look who is there, said a feminine voice I recognized all too well. Ah crap, hi Ino pig, Sakura said. Hey there, I greeted Ino. Naruto? What are you doing over with Sakura? Shikamaru said, on second thought, don't answer me, that too troublesome. Hey guys, wanna come with us and eat? I am starving, Chuji said. You are always starving, Chuji, I said as I laughed. We all went over the barbecue Chuji decided to go to. Delicious, Chuji said as he ate. Ino, why don't you eat something? I asked her as I fought against Chuji for a piece of meat, at the later pouting when I won. Because I am on a diet, she cited. Why? I mean, you already have a nice figure for a girl your age, I said as squeezed Sakura's hand to make sure she did not say anything. I mean, you are gonna burn calories while you are on missions, right? So why eat so little? I mean, you are gonna become a liability to your team, I said. Chuji choked on his meat he was eating while Shikamaru's hand slipped. What did you say? Ino said, disbelieving what she heard. You must be one of the prettiest kunoichis in the leaf. I mean, if I went out and surveyed any genin, I think you, along with Sakura-chan and Hinata-chan, would rank somewhere in the top 5, Naruto said with a faint blush. Ino looked at him as analyzing him. You might be right, Ino sighed, but I want to look good for Sasuke-kun. Ino said. Hey, if the guy really likes you, he should like you for more than just looks, otherwise it would never be true love, otherwise it would be a shallow love, Naruto said. Shikamaru was to say the least shocked. He put his hand on my forehead. What are you doing? I asked. Checking if you got a fever, Shikamaru said. Look, I might not have a lot of book smarts, but I am really good on these kind of things, I said. Rather than chase him, why not give other guys a chance, and if you are still unhappy of it, ask Sasuke. I am sure he would appreciate you not stalking him, I said. She cited the sad thing is you might be right, Ino said. Just give my advice some thought, besides you are really pretty. I am sure there are guys who would literally kill for a date with you, I said. I know I would, I added. This only made Ino blush. Well, thanks for the lunch, guys. Sakura and I are going home later, guys, I said as we disappeared in a whirlwind of leaves. Naruto, what you said to Ino, did you mean it? Sakura asked. What do you mean? I asked. Never mind, God, you are so dense sometimes, Sakura said as she ruffled her hair. They went home and they both went to sleep. But sometimes some people sleep better than others. Where am I? I asked. I look around and realize that I am in my own mind where the Kyuubi is caged. Kyukun? Enter Kit. Kyukun, what is going on? Listen, kid, I've been doing a lot of thinking, and I do mean a lot, and I decided that you should train with me in hell after your wave mission. What? Be quiet, Kit. Look, I have never been able to teach you much. Well, actually, I did not teach you at all. You learned from my past memories, but we need to train you more than you can train in mortal real, so the best deal is to train in hell where time does not exist. I see, so I will learn something more besides the fire teleportation, eh? Perhaps if you can survive the training, that is. You plan of making a sadistic/torturous training regime, aren't you? It was more of a statement rather than a question. You know it. Excuse me for a second while I yell my lungs off. Is understandable. Waya. I wake up sweating. I turn on the lamp and quickly run to the bathroom. I look myself in the mirror. I wanna live, I say as I cried in fear of the training that Kyuubi might put me trough. The next morning, Naruto wake up. Sakura was in my room all dressed up. Sakura-chan? Ah crap, I gotta get moving, I said as I went into the bathroom quickly taking a shower. After taking a shower he quickly dressed up and dashed out the window. Come on Sakura-chan, keep up, I said as I jumped from roof to roof. I am gonna beat you there, Sakura said as she speed up. Sasuke was on the tree, everything was calm and quiet. I won, and now it was over. No way. I beat you by an inch, Sakura said. Hey Sasuke, who got here first? Asked Sakura. Sasuke was taken back. Come on, tell us, I yelled. It was a tie, Sasuke said. Man, a tie? Well, next time I'll win, I said. Yeah right, Sakura said. Wanna play Crazy 8? Kakashi won't be here till later. I am game, Sasuke said, having nothing better to do. Same here, Sakura said. A few hours later. Wow, that was an awesome movie. Did you see the part where he just blew that zombie's head? I said. Uhu, Sakura said as they all watched a DVD from my portable DVD player. I bought one to kill time when Kakashi was late. Pass me more of that Coca-Late caramel popcorn please, those are delish, Sakura said. Sasuke passed the aforementioned snack. Hey there kids, Kakashi said with a smile. You are late again even when you are supposed to give a test, I said deadpan. Naruto, you are killing my rep, Kakashi said. Anyways, lateness notwithstanding, the test is this: I have 2 bells, those who get a bell get lunch, the one who doesn't however gets tied up on the tree, Kakashi said. Begin, Kakashi yelled. Sasuke, you copy? Over, I said. What is it, Dobe? Over, Sasuke answers. Sakura and Sasuke, I need you two to swoop in when I distract Kakashi-sensei and grab the bells, I said. EHH? They both said comically. Remember, I am the leader for today. Please do as I say now, Naruto said in an authority-like voice. Both genins were taken back by the blonde actions. I stood on a rock. I am gonna get some payback from the last time. Kakashi-sensei, come on out and let's have a fight worthy of warrior, I yelled. There is some wrong about that, you know, Kakashi said. The only thing wrong in here is your haircut, I yelled as I charged. Taya. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, I said as the training ground was covered on hundreds of me. Kakashi eyes bugged out. Charge, I ordered to my Bunshins. Kakashi grabbed his kunai as he tried to pop the Bunshins in a fight. Then Kakashi disappeared from my view. You expose your back to much konoha, most revered and ancient technique. 1,000 years of pain, he yelled as he shoved his finger up my rectum. Poof, a 1,000 years of pain. Counter, Naruto said as he was doing the same thing. Poof, Kakashi used Naruto as a kawamiri and then, poof, they were in an apparently never-ending circle of trying to shove a 1,000 years of pain to each other but not letting the other do so by use of kawamiri. His teammates were really disturbed at the sight, to tell the truth. Konoha senpu, I yelled as I got tired of the shtick. The hit went in and took a lot out of Kakashi. Ore, I yelled as I charged in. Matengen, I yelled as my eyes slowly changed. Then from my arms, a bony blade appeared. Yanagi no Mai, Dance of the Willow. I could see the surprise as he sees sharpened bones grow from my knees, elbows, shoulders, and palms. Using acrobatics I have practiced for a couple of years, I start to flip and dance around Kakashi, cutting him up and giving him a hard time to catch me. Thank God that Rouge Kagaya was fighting that night, otherwise I would never been able to have this, I think to myself. Flashback no Jutsu. As I walk out of the street, a month prior to the Uchiha massacre, there was a Kagaya resisting his arrest. He decided to fight. Bone pulse, he said as he shot his fingers at the NBU. The finger bullet was coming right at me, so I activated the Matengen to be able to dodge it. Unfortunately it grazed me, but something happened. My eyes begun to slightly itch. I paid no attention. It has been a rough night. The next morning, beep 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 beep, the alarm sounded violently. I streaked out, and then, beep beep beep, the alarm was destroyed. I got up to quickly see that I just shot a bone from my fingers. I used the bone pulse. Not only that, but I had gained a raw understanding of this Kikei Genkai, the Kagaya one, not my own. Nakyu, why did you think this happened? To be honest, your Matengen allows you to copy the Kikei Genkai, but you need a sample of DNA such as blood, or in this case a bone. Finger bullet drill scratched you and left a small DNA. The Matengen analyzed and changed your DNA to give you the ability to use that Kikei Genkai. Your eyes are the legendary ones, Naruto. They have the Kekei Genkai. Susiki, blood inheritance limit genesis, and it allows you to copy and take as your own other people's Kekei Genkai, the fox said. Flashback no Jutsu. Kai, I knew Naruto was good, but I did not expected this. What are those bones? I never seen a jutsu like that before, Kakashi thought. Sasuke, do you know what Naruto is doing? Sakura asked. Sasuke was looking at the scene and remembered something his older brother told him. It might be best if you befriended that kid. He pressed tightly his kunai. I don't know, Sasuke said. Hey guys, what are you watching? I asked. Just looking at Naruto fight against Kakashi on his own. He is doing good, Sakura said. Yeah, I do look cool, I said. Yeah, wait, Naruto. Sakura turned around as well as Sasuke. Quiet down, this is a Bunshin Kage Bunshin actually, but anyways you guys need to be ready. I will release myself, and know where you are. I will fire 3 of my bones over here, I said as I marked the place with my kunai. I want you to charge and get the bells, I said. What about you? Sakura said. Forget me, Just get the bell. I am to be the sacrificial piece. No one will care if I fail, but you guys can go on, I said as I smiled at them. Remember, I am the leader in a ninja. The leader is to be obeyed, not questioned. Those who disobey are lower than trash, I said. But those who fail their comrades, they are lower than that, I added. Now go, and show me what you got, I said as I puffed out of existence. The Bunshin gave me the knowledge he attained on the location of my team members. Bone pulse. Drill bullet, I said as I shot 3 bullets at a tree close to Kakashi. The signal both Sasuke and Sakura thought in unison. They both jumped out of the tree as Kakashi turned around to deflect and or evade them. But suddenly he was unable to move. He was being held in place by 10 Kage Bunshins. Hurry up. Take the bells, damn it. I yelled as I was losing my grip. They both cut the bells from Kakashi's waist. Thing. The clock just ringed. The exam was over. Well, it seems that I know what comes next, Kakashi said, sighing. Congratulations, you all pass, he said, smiling. I acted confused. What every team needs is teamwork. Naruto used himself as a distraction as the two of you rushed in to get the bells. You all showed excellent teamwork, Kakashi said as he ruffled Naruto's hair. Well, tomorrow you are all officially my new team, Kakashi said. Oh boy, my first mission, I yelled. First mission? I said, recalling the events. I dashed out at breakneck speed. J.I. I yelled as I broke trough a few teams of A and BU. Yes, Naruto? The third sat down as I took a breath. My mission, my first mission, please, for the love of God, change it, please. I really can't take that stupid cat, I said, catching my breath. I understand, but you need to do this and you will, so that the timeline stays somewhat the same, the old man said. Damn you, old man, I said, irritated. I exited the building. As I grumbled, I decided to pay a visit to the academy and see all the genin hopefuls. As I pass around the halls, I see the new academy kids running around, both learning and playing around. I watch as if I were an old man reminiscing the old times. I watch as the kids study on their classes and Irika giving his lessons. I smile as I walk around seeing the memories that I made. I go outside as I felt my stomach growl in hunger. I decide to stop to Ichiraka for some ramen when to my surprise I find somewhere else. Go on, Lee. Show them the power of youth. Mato Guy yelled at his student. Josh. The spring of youth burns brightly. Lee yelled as he began practicing. Will you two shut up? Tenten yelled. Is no use is our fate to have to deal with them, Niji said. Where did that come from? You are usually the happy one. Well, at least somewhat happy, Tenten said. I don't know, but somehow I felt something odd, Niji said, looking at the sky. Back with Naruto. Itachi and I. What are you doing here? I asked, a bit shocked. Oh, hello, Naruto, and I am just eating since I am on lunch break right now. You were right, by the way, this ramen is delicious, Itachi said as he slurped his noodles. Hi. The best food in the world. I said, old man. Give me a bowl of miso with egg, please. Coming right up, he said. Itachi continued to examine me. I grew a bit irritated at the fact, and I confront him. What are you trying to learn from me, Itachi and I asked. I wanted to know, how could you copy a Kikei Genkai of that Kagaya guy? I thought such feat was impossible even with the Sharingan, Itachi said as he slurped some more noodles. Well, as I explained before, the Matengan is a unique Kikei Genkai called Kekei Genkai Sasiki, blood inheritance limit genesis. But in order to use it I need a DNA sample from the original user, and also I get some rudimentary knowledge on the Kikei Genkai, but it is much more effective if I had training from the users themselves, I said, indulging on the ramen. I see. Very well then, Naruto-kun, please take care of my Naruto. He might be arrogant at times, but it comes with the territory of being an Uchiha, Itachi said, sighing. I wonder what it will become of us sometimes, he said, sighing. I excused myself. As I paid my bill I decided to think on how to deal with the whole Hinata situation. Granted, Hinata was pretty no scratch that she was hot. She had breasts that could be compared to Tsunade back on when she grew up. I was in a moral dilemma. I never knew she liked me with that passion, and if I am correct I'd been her emotional support when we were kids. What to do? Sorry, I did realize where Tenten? I said, surprised at the girl who I happened to bump into literally. Naruto-kun? Hey. Long time no see, she said as she slapped my back. I have not seen you since the academy 3 years ago, I said. True, last time we saw each other before that was before the she said, feeling awkward. When the matron threw me out of the orphanage? I said, trying to make it less awkward. Ooh, but how have you been? I was worrying when I did not see you on the rooster for genin, she said. I failed the exam 3 times, I said, feigning embarrassment. I see, but you are a genin now. Congratulations. She beamed at me. I just passed my test I got with Kakashi, I said. Did I hear correctly? Did my hip rival finally gotten himself a genin team? I heard from around. Ah crap, not this again, I mentally sobbed. Konoha's prideful green beast. Mato Guy. He appeared. Josh. Your power of youth burns brightly, Gi-sensei, Lee shouted. Is this gonna take long? I asked Tenten. I hope not, but then again, she said. Hey Tenten, why don't we catch up? Wanna go to the park? I said. Is this a date, Uzumaki? She said playfully. Not unless you wanted to, I said, grinning with a predatory smile. She blushed. Come on. I know a place you are going to love, I said as we both disappeared. Tenten was always a nice sweet girl. She was a strong girl as well, since she wanted to be like her idol, the legendary Tsunade, God forbid. She loved any and all weapons, and she is a self-proclaimed weapon mistress. I remember hanging around with her a lot on the orphanage, and we were partners in crime when we both stole a blanket or biscuits for ourselves. We reached our destination. It was the Museum of Weapons exhibit. So? What do you think? I asked. Suga. she said with starry eyes. I thought you might like it. There are a lot of weapons over here, I said as I tugged her close to me. Tenten blushed. Her only male interaction she had ever gotten was from her teammates. And let's face it, only Niji was an actual choice if he wasn't so reserved, and here she is, with Naruto on an exhibition of weapons. I know, Naruto, why are we here? Tenten asked. Look at that sword, is the one I wanted to show you, I said as I pointed the sword. The sword was really beautiful. It had a nice yet simple design. It was a long katana and the sign said, Muramasa, a legendary sword said to become unusually strong at its wielder's wounds. The sword draws its powers from its wielder's wounds and blood, meaning that the more injured the owner the sword becomes stronger. It is believed that this sword was forged by demons. Suga, is this what you wanted to show me? Tenten said as she looked at me. Yeah, I thought you might like to see this sword since it just came out this week. This is the replica, I know, but still I thought you might get a kick at seeing it, I said. Tenten then turned around. She turned her head a bit and smiled. Arigato Naruto, she said. No problem, Databeo, I said. Hey, I just realized something, she said. Nani? I asked. You have not said Databeo at the end of your sentences a long time, she said, giggling. I guess not, but then again I have matured, you know, I said, smiling. Hi, and perhaps you might become a kind and strong Hokage, she said. Of course. And when I become Hokage, I would put you to make an intense weapon training camp, and you will have access to weapons beyond the reach of normal ninja and kunoichi, I said. I will hold you on to that, yo no, she said, poking my forehead. Hi, I smiled. Well, Tenten, I hope this was as much fun to you as it was for me, I said. She then gave me a small peck on the cheek. Take care, alright? She said, smiling. Of course, I said as I disappeared with my sunshin. I made my way towards home, slowly thinking on the decisions I'd taken. So far I got an Itachi to stay. Madara is now on his guard since I could not kill him, and possibly Pain as well. I got to get Jiraiya to train me before the Chunin exams and get Tsunade here. Let's also not forget that Hinata has now confessed her love to me and possibly put myself on Hayashi's blacklist. Oh, the irony, Hayashi would really like his daughter to bear Naruto's children and obtain the Kikei Genkai for her clan. And also had gotten Ojiji's memories back to him. So far so good. Oh, and now I got the training with the fox as well, so everything is going better than expected, I thought to myself. I walked off the dimly lit streets of Konoha. I find myself facing with Ayam. Something looked wrong. Ayam Nekin? What are you doing here? It's really late, and you should head home, I said. With that she passed out. Ayam. Beep 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 beep. Sound of medical machine. POV? I felt myself get up. I felt groggy. I tried to stand up, but I find myself unable to. I looked down. A small kid with blonde hair lay asleep at my lap. He had been watching over me all night. I'm surprised when I realized that it was Naruto. Naruto, hey, wake up, I said as I gently shake him. I am Nichin, you are alright, he said. I pat him. I was really thankful. I had never been so scared in my life before. Flashback no jutsu. I am. I heard someone yell out to me as I fall unconscious. Oh, so that is where that little piece of ass ran to a small child. It seems she like young. The guy said. What the hell were you doing with Ayam Neka? Naruto said with a growl. Well, we wanted to do something, but she ran away. We shot her with an anesthetic so we can play around with her for a while, another guy said. Naruto then put Ayam on the ground. He began to draw the Yuki from the fox. I will kill you all, Naruto yelled as he charged. Without a second thought, with no hesitation, he cut both guys with his claws with relative ease. See you in hell, Naruto said as he burned them with his fox fire. Flashback no jutsu ki. POV Ayam. So you saved me? I said. Yeah, the old man was worried about you. You should never leave so late at night, Naruto said. You shouldn't be talking, you being younger than me, I said. But I am a ninja, Naruto said, pointing at his headband. True, I said. Listen, Ayam, please take care. I really don't know what I would do if something happened to you, Naruto said. I blushed. My Naruto-kun, I did not know you had feelings towards me, I said teasingly. I do. I really do have feelings towards you, but you know, the older sister / younger brother sort of way, Naruto said, smiling. Hi, I said, smiling. Look, I got to go. I got a mission today, so please take care, Naruto said. Come over here before you leave, I said. Naruto said. Closer, a bit closer, I said. Then I gave him an adult kiss. We seemed to enjoy my little present. He then touched his lips. That is your reward for saving me. Enjoy it, she said, smiling as she licked her lips. You taste like ramen, Naruto, she said, smiling. I am off, Naruto shouted as he left with his face red as a beet. POV Naruto. Man, girl are acting weird this time around, I said to myself. I reached to the training ground number 9. I sighted Sakura-chan. Looked like she was going to kill me. Naruto, she yelled. Sasuke actually cringed in fear. Wait. I am sorry. I came late cause I had to save Ayam from a fate worse than death, I yelled as I tried to calm her. Sakura said. Last night I found her on the street semi-conscious. She was gonna be raped by some thugs. I could not leave her like that. I took her to the hospital. She should be fine by tomorrow, I said. Okay, Sakura said as she gave me the once-over. She then deduced I was telling the truth. Yo, Kakashi said. You are early again, Kakashi. Then again, I did put all your clocks 1 hour later, so you might hurry up, I said. You what? Kakashi said. Hey, waiting for you is not really productive, you know, I said. Kakashi sighed. Okay, so our mission for today is to catch the daimyo wife's cat. It is orange, a scar on the left eye and a big ribbon that says Tora, tiger, Kakashi said. Mission start. End chapter no jutsu. Chapter 5. I really wish I was allergic to cats and mission to the wave. Okay team, remember the quarry has a ribbon with Tora on it, Kakashi said on the link. Kakashi-sensei, mind if I wrap this up quickly? I said. Naruto, we are supposed to work as a team, Kakashi said. I know, but I want to finish this mission fast, this is really boring, I said. Let the dope do what he wants to do, honestly this mission is duller than Naruto's IQ, Sasuke said. Yeah, what he I yelled in realization. Fine Naruto, do whatever, Kakashi said and cited. Taya. Kagebunshin no jutsu, I said as one became many. Get the cat. I ordered. OSU. The clones yelled. Arg. Damn. Stupid cat, come here, why son of a bitch cat, arggg, just come here. The clones yelled. The whole forest was rumbling at the clones' destruction of the hiding places the cat was using. A few minutes later, I came back all bruised and tired. Chasing the cat around was no easy task. So you have completed the task at hand. Sight now to the theatrics. We have some requests for you: digging trench for sweet potatoes, babysitting for the Council of Elders, and the third said. No way. I am a real ninja, I want something harder than that, I yelled. Naruto, you just graduated. And on the bottom of the class that you really are only suited on D-class missions, Irika said. Well Naruto, since you put it that way, how about we allow you to try a C-rank mission usually reserved for Chunin, the old man said. Yada! I yelled. I am going to prepare my bags. I said. Hey Naruto? Can you give me a lift too? Sakura said, blushing a bit. Sure, I am kinda tired of Sunshin, so I thought on trying something else for a change, I said. Sakura said in confusion. Demonic style, Kitsune fire teleportation. I said as flames engulfed us both. How? The Kyuubi, Kakashi reasoned. Onto Sakura's house. Flames appeared on the ground, and from the flames Sakura and I appeared. Nanio? Sakura was confused. Fire teleportation, I can use the fire to move myself from place to place, I said. Naruto, something is burning, Sakura said. I said. Then I looked at myself. Arg. Put it off, put it off. I said, waving my arms. Arg. Don't move. Wait here. Sakura said as she rushed down with a blanket. She threw it at me and the fire began to die. Thanks lots, Sakura, I said. My arm was badly burned. Naruto, your arm. Sakura panicked. Is no big deal, it will be fine in a few, I said, trying to calm her. Naruto, look, it is badly burned, she said as she now saw that the skin begun to repair itself. I am really glad, I am a fast healer. Is the first time I was burned with this technique, I am still perfecting it, I said. Wow Naruto, you always surprising me, what was those bones that came from? Sakura was wondered. That is a story for another time, I said, patting her shoulder. No fair, Sakura said, pouting. I had to restrain myself from laughing. Right now I just want to do nice with the baby, I'm really tired today, we have a big mission tomorrow, I said as I yawned as patted Sakura on the shoulder. I stopped and hugged Sakura. Thank you for being my friend, I said, catching Sakura off guard. You are acting weird, Naruto, is something wrong? Sakura asked him. It's just it seems like a dream to me, you being the girl I always dreamed of, you know, but I was always shot down by you. I always thought that maybe I could gain your attention by being the class clown, but that never worked. I am happy though, now I am accepted in your home, and we are close friends, I said as a single tear comes from my eyes and hits the floor. I am crying? I said to myself in disbelief. Naruto? Sakura asked. I turned around. Sakura, never mind, I am going to bed, I said, giving her a smile. Naruto-kun, I wonder what is it that you have in your heart, Sakura said. Did you just said Naruto-kun? Inner Sakura asked. I think I did, but it did not feel weird at all. Wonder why? Perhaps because he really sweet. I wonder why we even been so mean to him in the past, Inner Sakura said. Next morning. Good morning Team 7, for your mission you are to escort someone to the land of waves, the third said. Hello there, I am Tazuna, the super bridge builder. I expect you to protect me with your lives, but are you sure that boy can do it? The one with the dumb look? Tazuna said. As a reply I activated my Matengen, and used the bone dead pulse and broke his sake bottle. I hope this will prove me otherwise, I said. Sure, Tazuna said, being taken by surprise by the bone attack. Okay, let's head out, I yelled as the team began to move out. Outside Konoha. Yeah. Is awesome to be outside, I said as I walked out. Why is that dope? Sasuke asked. I never been outside the village before, I said. I see, Sasuke said. Then it came to me, the puddle. The puddle that made this trip from C to A. The puddle that happened to have two Chunins ready to kill us. But this time it was my turn. What, Kakashi-sensei? When was he last time it rained over here? I asked. Not in a long time, why you ask? Kakashi said. No reason, I said, shrugging. No reason, my ass, I can see it clearly. You noticed them, didn't you? You are not saying anything, so they think they have us in a trap, Kakashi thought. Kakashi walked as his eyes changed. He could feel them. The trap is set, and the mice has cometh. From behind them the puzzle changed, and from it too Rain Nin came out, and attacked Kakashi. It's happening like last time, I thought, except that I am not gonna freeze up this time. The battle was fought like last time, minus a poisoned Naruto. You have some explaining to do, Kakashi said to Tazuna. Tazuna then explained his situation. I see, however you lied to us. This mission is beyond our scope. We were paid for a C rank mission, that would be easy, but this just became an A rank mission, Kakashi said. Yeah, this might be too hard for us, Sakura said. I can't believe it, none of you got the guts to continue? Well, on my part, if you guys want to go back is fine, cause I am going on, I said. Naruto is right for a change. This is the most difficult mission that is never allowed to us. I don't want to lose this opportunity, Sasuke said. Well, if they both want to do it, fine, I am in too, Sakura said. Okay guys, we will keep going at least until we reach the land of the waves, Kakashi said. They managed to get into the land of waves thanks to a small motorboat. Man, this time they will be prepared. Is gonna be Jounin, not Chunin, Kakashi mentally cited. Naruto saw the whole scenery. It was such a beautiful scenery. It was a shame this land was destroyed in a battle with Orochimaru. He had to resort to 7 of his 9 tails he'd been so far able to control. Hey old man, we must be getting close, right? I asked. Yeah, we should get there right about now, he said as we hit the shore. They walked about 20 minutes or so when suddenly, I threw my shuriken at a bush where Zabuza was, but I knew he used Kawamiri. Is no use, I know yo use Kawamiri, so show yourself, I said. As an answer, a huge sword flew our way. Get down! Kakashi yelled. I stood ground as I grabbed the sword with my arm. I swung it and threw it at the tree that Zabuza was going to stand on. Human, impressive for a genin. Perhaps I should take you as my apprentice, Zabuza said. And pray tell, what is it that you could teach me that my tenant cannot? I said. Kakashi's eyes widened in terror. This meant that Naruto was actually talking to the fox and had an understatement. Tenant? I don't know what you are talking about, Boza, but I really need to get the old man behind you. Would you mind moving so I can kill him? Zabuza said. Nah, but I got something else to say. There is someone hiding. Why don't you call him in? I said. Zabuza was taken back. The little kid had actually detected Haku. What are you? Kakashi said as a boy came to Zabuza's side. To have that Gaki detected you, that boy must be a special, Zabuza said. Everyone form a defensive formation around Tazuna. Kakashi said. How did he detected that kid when even I couldn't? Oh right, he was trained with Itachi and Hayashi and myself, and Guy as well, so it should not be that surprising, Kakashi thought. Ninpu, Kirigaku no Jutsu, ninja art, hidden misjutsu, said Zabuza menacingly. In a matter of seconds, the mist that blanketed the area became thicker than it was before, causing Zabuza to vanish without a trace. This is not good, Kakashi said as the mist enveloped them. Zabuza is a master of the silent kill, a deadly technique that takes place without warning. He looked over his shoulder at his team. Don't let your guard down, not even for a second. If you do, you'll be dead before you know it. 8 points, came Zabuza's voice from somewhere in the mist, causing the hackles on the back of Naruto's neck to stand on end. Larynx, spinal column, lungs, liver, where is that coming from? Sakura wondered aloud, terror growing in her voice. It's like we're fighting the mist itself. He could be anywhere. Jugular, subclavian artery, kidneys, heart, the nuke Neen finished. So many choices. Which vital, vulnerable spot shall I choose? Heh. I put my hand on Sakura's shoulder to reassure her that everything will be fine. This is crazy, thought Sasuke in a panic, sweat beating down his neck, his eyes shifting warily from right to left. It feels as though one small breath, one twitch of the eye, and it'll all be over. If it goes on like this, I'll go insane. In his mind's eye, Sasuke had a chilling image of himself being decapitated mid-blink. It was so frighteningly realistic he had to force himself to push the vision out of his head and focus on front of him. Kakashi had triggered a massive release of his own chakra, so intense that Sasuke could actually feel it bearing down on him. The clash of two jounin, both intent on killing one another. I've never felt anything so chilling. No! Sasuke cried out in his mind. He pulled a kunai free from his ninja holster and raised it over his abdomen. I can't take this, I'd rather. Sasuke! Kakashi barked, startling him. Calm down. I'll protect all of you with my life. I will not allow my comrades to die, trust me on that. Somehow, his words did calm Sasuke, reassuring him of their safety. I wouldn't be so sure about that, retorted Zabuza smugly. Suddenly, he materialized in the center of the group's formation, sword at the ready. It's over. This dance is only over when I say is over, I said as I grabbed his blade with my hand. Hakoki Kid, Zabuza said as he tried to free his sword. What? He found out the kid's grip was quiet, strong, the sword did not budge. Now Zabuza, why don't we amp up the stakes in here? How about this? If you win you get to kill the old goat over here, I said. Hey! Don't just gamble me, Tazuna said. And if you win Gaki? Zabuza said, looking at me with interest. You join to Konoha, I said, smiling. Very well Gaki, let's see what you can do, he said, hitting in the mist once more. Matengen, I said as my eyes changed. He had made a good amount of chakra. Now with these eyes I can track him. Kakashi-sensei, stay out of this is gonna be my fight, I said. As long as you sure you can take him, be my guest, Kakashi said. Zabuza then appeared behind me. You lose Gaki, he said as he tried to decapitate me. My body then turned liquid. You were able to use the Misu Bunshin, congratulations, Zabuza said as he felt the kunai pressed against him, but his body turned into water. I am not easy to fool, he said as the original appeared with his sword at hand. Naruto! Sakura yelled as my head flew from my shoulders. My body bleed as it collapsed. No! Sasuke yelled. Then the body just turned into blood. I came from the mist as well with a roundhouse flying kick that struck him really hard. How did you like that? I call that Chi Bunshin, blood clone. I developed in case I needed to make myself appear as I died in order to get into a vantage point, I said, smirking. Naruto! You idiot, you had me worried. Sakura yelled with tears on her eyes. I'll make it up to you, I'll buy you anything you want when we return, I said. How sweet, but you don't have the time to be distracted, Zabuza said as he sent Naruto flying. Man, I was hoping to save this till later, but I thought. I started to cover my arms on bandages, both of them. Sakura and Sasuke were both confused, but Kakashi knew what he was going to do. Omote wrench! I yelled as I charged to Zabuza. I kicked him upwards with repetitive kicks like a barrage of a turret gun. Zabuza-sama! Haku yelled. I used the bandages to bandage him. Todomida! I yelled as I dropped him headfirst into the floor, and I jumped at the nick of time. Zabuza then stood up. Hyun, you really must really hard on the head to stand up after that, I said, surprised. I am not one of the 7 Miss Swordsmen for nothing, kid, Zabuza said. But even I got a limit, he said before dropping. Haku then appeared to carry him off. Wait! I yelled. You better keep your end of the deal, I said. You won fair and square, Gaki, but I am afraid I can't do that, not yet, not until, Zabuza said. Dethrone the current Mizuki? I said, completing it for him. He was taken by surprise. How I know? Is easy when you have your ears on a lot of things, especially with these Kagebunshin, I said. We will meet again, Gaki, and I plan to win, Zabuza said as he disappeared. My eyes then changed back to its normal azure color. Naruto, that was amazing, I am really proud of you, Kakashi said. Nothing to it but to do it, I said. Still though, how did you know about Zabuza Genin? Like you should not be able to get his hands on a bingo book, Kakashi said. There's a reason why I am called the most surprising ninja, Kakashi sensei. You might not believe how easy it was to make a female A and B. You give me one when I look like a Bishinin model, I said, smiling. You don't look like one, Dobe, Sasuke said. Henge. Sexy no jutsu revised. Bishinin. I yelled at the modification of my normal sexy no jutsu. From the smoke I appeared in my mid-teens and had a look like I did back in the day, or could it be forward-time mechanics are so confusing to deal with? The only thing thought I made myself with my own clothing. With a sultry voice I developed I spoke. What do you think? Sakurai-chan? I said, poking her on her nose. She turned into all kinds of red before a trickle of blood ran from her nose. I think I overdid it, I said, sweat dropping. No kidding, Sasuke said as he smacked the blonde behind his head. They reached to Tazuna's home safe and sound. Sasuke was, to his dismay, on Sakura duty, which meant that he had to carry her. I swear I will kill you for this, Sasuke thought as he looked at the blonde with ire. Is not that Sasuke was gay as many people thought. He just did not want to get sidetracked. He was a one-track mind. He wanted to be the best Uchiha, and killed that man, the man that impersonated his brother, the one that killed so many of Haikin before being stopped. He had no time for silly things such as love. After dropping her at a futon, Kakashi was introduced to Tazuna's daughter. I remembered her so much time ago. She is such a sweet mother. And she is really pretty too. Just look at her figure, I mean, come on. I bowed respectfully. Greetings, my name is Uzumaki Naruto. We are members of Team 7 here to escort Tazunajisen to the land of waves. My, what a well-educated young boy you are, Tsunami said as she patted my head. Both Sasuke and Kakashi were wide-eyed. What? I can be a gentleman too, you know, I said. How is Sakura anyways? I said. She still has that giggling thing going on and she still has some blood running out of her nose, otherwise she should wake up anytime soon, Kakashi said. He then looked at me. He sighed. You know, Naruto, you are becoming a playbook, Kakashi said. What do you mean? I said, worried. You don't think I don't know about you and a certain Hyuga princess, right? I heard from some Hyuga that a person matching your henge persona came over to rescue her, and I know what happened next. I was there, he said. Oh, really? Then what did I do? I said, worried. It looked something taken from page 48 from Ika Paradise, Kakashi said. I recalled that page. Yup, that is exactly how it had happened. So you want to share this with her, or should I? He said with a happy glee on his voice as I smiled me. I got a deal for you, I said, sighing. Oh? And what would that be? Kakashi said. A first edition autographed copy of the next Ika series, how about it? I said. He stopped. A thunder came plus a black screen. FFF first edition? Autographed? He repeated. I can get it too if you keep quiet, I said. Fine, we have a deal, Kakashi said. I then sat close to Sakura as she sleep. Sleep well, Sakura-chan, I said as I gave her a kiss in her cheek. I turned in and decided to sleep, but not any normal sleep. It was more of a mental realm. Inside I could train my mind when my body was resting and as a way to increase my technique repertoire. Kyukun! Where are you? I yelled out for the giant fox. Zzzzzzghtwa? Oh, Kit, what are you doing here? The fox asked. I need new techniques, possibly demon ones if possible, I asked for. Oh? Why is that? The fox asked. I need something to defeat Haku's mirrors and something to keep on up with Zabuza and something to keep Haku from dying, I said. A conundrum you wish to defeat yet you wish to keep them alive. Look, to be honest, we of the Vulpine family normally concentrate on eradication of our enemies. We don't really have techniques to protect others, but now that I think about it a bit more, there is something like that. Is a technique that allows to steal the soul from a person and seal it on your eyes until you decide to give it back. That way you can stop Haku from killing himself and Kakashi from killing Zabuza, the fox said. Isn't that kind of dangerous? I asked. Yeah, but is the only viable option right here. I will show you how to do it, and you will practice it until you can do it perfectly by muscle memory, the fox said. We worked on the handsings until morning came. Thanks a lot, Kyukun, I said as my body woke up and my consciousness returned. POV Sakura. I woken up quite early. It was a rare sight to see Naruto sleeping like that. He was sleeping, yet he looked like he was working hard on something. I made a disgusted face. Naruto! You better not be doing what I think you are doing. I said as I pulled the covers off him. I looked at Naruto, who was sleeping on nothing but his boxers. His body had been toned well and I could see all the shapes of them. I could also see the many cuts and other wounds he had sustained over the years. They were clear, meaning that they had almost healed. I blushed as I moved to cover him. You see something you like, Sakura-chan? Naruto said. Ah no, I didn't. I wouldn't. She was really nervous. Ha, I was just joking, Sakura-chan. I know you don't like me like that, but I felt happy you looked at me like that, Naruto said as he blushed. Ah no, I will be outside, I said as I walked out. POV Naruto, normal point of view. Man, is so fun to tease you, Sakura-chan, I said as I changed into my sealed clothing. This one were the ones like I had back when I was 14 to 16 years old. Naruto baka, don't say that, she said. I could imagine her ears turning red. Nay, Sakura-chan, why you like Sasuke so much? I mean, he has not even said anything to you except that time, I said, then mentally berating myself for it. I suppose you are right. He had never shown any interest in me nor any of the other girls. He is so busy and fixated in his goal that he never even gave us girls a second thought, Sakura said. Sakura-chan, I said, a bit saddened. It must be really hard loving someone but not being loved back. Isn't that called unrequited love? I said. Yes, that is what it is, a one-sided love, Sakura said, sighing. You know I am available, I said, smirking. But we are like brother and sister, Sakura said, looking down. You know, I said as I lifted her face up, I have always looked at you as my only target. Naruto-kun, she said, getting redder. You were and are the most important person for me. I would gladly put myself in front of you to protect you, not only because we are like brother and sister, but because I have always loved you, even if it was unrequited one, I said, putting my hand up. Now get ready, Sakura-chan, you go to guard the old man on the bridge till is completed, Naruto said as he walked beside her. Naruto, you, Sakura said as he walked away. Kakashi and the rest then continued to train while on bridge guard duty. The first to train was Sasuke, big surprise there, and Sakura. Kakashi was unsure on teaching Naruto anything but decided to go for it. Listen, Naruto, I will teach you something I wanted to pass to someone, the only soul original I ever created, Kakashi said. Oh boy. He is gonna teach me to do the Raikiri. I yelled happily in my mind. I will be teaching you to do the Chidori, Kakashi said. Finally something worth my time. Kakashi never had the chance to teach me the Chidori on the first time, I said. Awesome, Kakashi-sensei. But in order to this faster, it would be better if I use the Kage Bunshin? I said. So you know of the Kage Bunshin unique qualities? Well, if you can do it, Kakashi said. YOSH. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. I said as the forest changed from green to orange. Uzumaki, Naruto reporting for duty. All the clones said. Very well, I need you to concentrate and pull all the chakra into the palm of your hand and turn it into electricity, Kakashi said. YOSH. Every clone said as each one tried its hardest. They went for 30 minutes until, Yada! Said one of the many clones. Dispel yourself, I said as the clone puffed out of existence, and I gained his knowledge. Oh. So that is how it's done, I said. Every clone then began to charge the chakra, and they formed a perfect lighting chakra perfectly on his hand. He then dispelled all the clones. Chidori get. I yelled after completing the training on record time, 1 hour. Mama, Naruto-kun, I hope you can use it wisely. I know you can become the Hokage, Kakashi said. Thank you, Kakashi-sensei, I said as I walked out. You might even surpass my sensei, your father, Kakashi thought as he saw into the deep blue sky. I think I might get eager to have kids of my own, Kakashi thought. I walked over the border of the lake thinking, how is this unnamed technique gonna work on my plan, and how I could trap Zabuza's soul in my right eye and then continue to fight Haku, but before that I need to find him like last time. I need his Kiki-eye Genkai so I can find a weakness I reasoned as I walked into the forest, and sleep the last time where Haku found me. I had a dream again, another dream. Come back here, you demon. Kill him. Do not allow such depravity to survive. From the outside Haku walked over. She slowly creeped closer to me as pulled out a saban needle. Please don't, I am not a monster, don't kill me, I cried in my sleep as tears rolled from my closed eyes. Haku then stopped. He found someone like himself. He then pulled him upwards. Hey kid, you will catch your death of cold if you sleep in here, Haku said. Matengen henge. I thought in order to hide my Matengen. I grabbed his hand and I felt a burning sensation on the back of my eyes. The genetic information had traveled into my body and I was able to get the new ability A/N. Man, this reminds me of Mega Man sort of, LOL. Freeze Cracker Iceman's attack. I smirked as I got up. Wow, so you are gathering herbs. That is a thought job for a girl like you, I said. I helped him. Yeah, I knew he was a he, but I got to play it cool. Do you have someone special? Haku said. Someone you would die for? I have people who are waiting for my safe return, my friends and allies alike, and I have a girl I like, who might not like me, and another girl who likes me, but I am not sure what to do about her since the first was always in my mind, I said truthfully. My name is Haku, and we will meet again. Oh, and by the way, I am a boy, he said. I sighed as he walked away. Sasuke has come for me per Kakashi-sensei's order. Sign, I've been missing for a long time. Dope, something wrong? I heard Sasuke. Yes, something is bothering me. Can I ask you something seriously? I said to Sasuke. You? Serious? This I gotta hear it, Sasuke said in mocking tone. Do you like Sakura? And with your answer I want an explanation, Naruto said, looking at Sasuke. To be honest? No, I don't. She is still so clingy at me and I hate that. Not only that, but she can't see past my last name, Uchiha. That is all I am. I bet her parents put it on her little head to marry me so they could have connections with my clan as well. Most people tried to do that for countless eras on the Uchiha, Sasuke said. You do realize that Sakura always liked you. I hated you for that, Naruto said. Remember when I tied you up and impersonated you? Naruto said. Sasuke merely grunted as a sign. Well, I wanted to see why she hated me so much but was unable to do so because I drank expired milk, I said. And how does that has to do with anything? Sasuke asked. It made me go to the bathroom, Naruto said. Oh, Sasuke said. Well, that is on the past, but I suggest you tell her in her face how you felt about her. Is not nice to fool with a girl's heart after all, I said. I'll give that some thought, Sasuke said. They walked back to the bridge where Sakura was asleep on a few bags of grain. Yo, Sakura-chan, I greeted her and woke her up. Nam? Naruto? Sasuke? Sakura said. Yo, Sasuke said. Sakura, we need to talk, Sasuke said. Sakura raised her head to meet Sasuke's gaze. Follow me, this is important, Sasuke said. Sakura and Sasuke then walked on the forest. Well, Naruto, it appears is only you and I, Kakashi said. So nervous? Kakashi said. A little, I answered truthfully. To be young again, Kakashi said. You are not that old yourself, I said. True, Kakashi said, nodding. Wanna take a break? I will generate a few Kage Bunshins to take over us, I said. You really clever, fine, just make sure they are all safe, Kakashi said. Roger, I said as I made the most used sing. Kage Bunshin. I said as 2 clones were generated. Henge. Said a clone and made himself into a copy of Kakashi. Let's go and see Tsunami, I said. Oh? You are going for the MILF now? Kakashi said, smiling. I will kill you, you know? I said. Fine, Killjoy, Kakashi said. Somewhere in the forest. Well, here we are, the 2 of us alone, Sakura said. Then I will go right to the grain of the little meeting. I talked to Naruto, he told me how you felt. Look, I appreciate your feelings, but I neither want them nor need them, and no. I don't happen to like any other girl in particular. I have an ambition and a goal, and I can't allow myself to be sidetracked. I really would like, however, to be friends with you, Sasuke said. I see, Sakura said. Look, if it makes you feel any better, you look, I take back what I said before, Sasuke said, blushing a bit, and turning as to not face Sakura. You are not that annoying, Sasuke said. Thank you, Sasuke-kun, Sakura said as he gave him a hug. This feels nicey. Where did that came from? Sasuke said. Well, I'd better go and look for Naruto, Sakura said. Wow, it feels like a weight has been lifted. If only the rest of the girls were as easy to convince, Sasuke thought. Back to Naruto and Kakashi. Sakura's POV. I am telling Shush, the fox's power are under control, said a clearly drunken Naruto. Arenshush worried ash all have been overpowered by the fox, said a clearly drunken Kakashi. We are the beast of buds the fosh, and I hick the resh no any need to worry, Naruto said. Ah. Shikura-chan, how are you? Got from talking with Shashuk? Naruto said, tilting from side to side as he walked over to her. He then fell. Shinero. Kakashi-sensei no baka. How could you let Naruto drink sake? I said. Old enough to kill, old enough to drink that, what we sure Shinshinobi say, Kakashi said. Oh, for the love of God, you 2 better sleep this off before you hurt someone or worse yourselves, I said. Motoken Naruto, you better appreciate this, I said as I helped Naruto into a futon. Then as I lay him down I play around with his hair, the golden hair. Then Naruto raises up and kisses me. A kiss. And then as time passed, seconds, minutes, hours, perhaps no one could tell, time seemed to stop. Then he fell limp into his futon. I blushed crazily. You are lucky you are drunk, I thought. What if Kyuubi gives Naruto a gift, konoha? And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoyed this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel. And leave a like if you guys need the next part. Comment down, and thanks for watching the video, and see you guys in the next video.